coffee is brewed, the donuts are fresh. It's time for the early game.
Hey, will you guys let me know if this ever airs?
On 107.5, The Game.
Welcome in on a Thursday morning. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, and she is back in studio. Jen Jensen back with us. I think I apologize, Jen. You sent me a text message yesterday, and I just didn't respond.
Shocking.
It's actually a business text message, too. A lot of things that we had to do that we needed to work on, things of that nature. And I think I just rolled my eyes and flipped my phone away and went back to
it was a Wednesday.
Yeah, pretty much. So I
Good deal.
apologize for not responding to you last night. I'll say that on air. That way everybody hears that apology and we can move past me not responding.
I don't ever respond.
Yeah, you are. You're really bad
Yeah.
about
And I
responding
sleep.
to text messages.
Yeah. I sleep all day, and then I'll half wake up and then look at a text or open it and be too tired to type back, and then I'll fall back asleep and then just completely forget about it.
Yeah, you are one of those people that drives me.
Yeah.
It takes 2 seconds to respond to a text message, and
I don't do it.
yeah, you're bad at it. You're not good at it.
Nope.
So there's the dynamic of this program. One person, I generally respond. Patrick never responds. Jen always responds. That's kind of how the breakdown of that goes. 803-404-6100. That's how you can respond to us this morning. If you want to be a part of the program, you can hit us up via the Love Chevy phone lines or the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. You can also, as always, go to youtube.com and search 107.5 The Game. Check out the Buford Lending live stream. Click and subscribe. Tomorrow is going to be just a lovely. I heard Jay Phillips and I guess Tommy were making jokes about me waking up bright and early in the morning and having to be on a live stream. Look, we get up and we present the best we can present. This face,
What were
this
their
look,
jokes?
this look is not getting any better at noon.
What were their jokes?
Apparently that we're just we're not live stream beautiful at 6 a.m.
Yes, we are.
I think we are. Yeah.
Well, they're
They're
just
not
jealous.
live
They
stream
wouldn't be
beautiful
live
at
stream
noon.
beautiful.
No, they're
at
not.
one.
They're not. They're
Jay's
not.
afraid to put his face on camera.
He is. Yeah. Even when we have company Zoom meetings, he just has the JP up and doesn't even, who knows what he's doing behind the JP. But yeah, so we will. But tomorrow, sound and images is where we'll be at. And you can join us on the Buford Lending live stream. Just go to youtube.com, search 107.5 The Game, and click and subscribe. Oh, you can be that lucky 1,000th subscriber. We're at 984. You get no prize other than maybe a pat on the back or a high five from us if we ever get to actually meet you. But that's all we ask you to do. You can go and join in as people do each and every morning. Anthony, Jerry, Justin, all up, and Adam. Good morning to everybody. Anthony weighing in with one of the major topics this morning. Last night, South Carolina, again, Patrick, rallies. It looked bleak for a little while. It looked like South Carolina was going to take I wouldn't say a bad loss at home, but it wasn't going to be a good one. Vanderbilt was 10-8. They were 2-4. That has now changed. They are now 10-9, 2-5 in conference. But it looked like Vanderbilt was going to pull this off. Scottie Pippen Jr. was making some plays on the way to a 24-point night. South Carolina was up and down, not making some shots and turning the ball over. And in the blink of an eye, South Carolina goes on another huge run. And the next thing you know, what was about a 9-point deficit became a 7-point lead, and South Carolina cruises on. Again, if you just look at the box score this morning, if you're getting up and you see 70-61, you go, oh, South Carolina's probably in control the majority of the game.
Nope.
And had this thing well in hand and made some free throws down the stretch and pulled away. No. It was a different ball game. But once again, South Carolina goes on a big run in the second half, shoots the ball fairly well last night, 44% from the field, made 7 of 23 3-pointers, 9 of 21 from the free throw line. That continues to be a bugaboo, but the Gamecocks go on and find a way to pick up another solid victory. That's the way you would describe it. It's not a great victory. It's not one that's going to hurt you in any kind of the postseason discussion. And in a conference right now that might be, I haven't looked at the Ken Palm conference rankings, how the conferences are ranked. I would assume the SEC is 1 or 2 right now, but it's a win that keeps you in the hunt. They said that last night at the very end of the program, that the team that lost that game, it wouldn't even be the end of January, and their season would be in serious, serious jeopardy.
Yeah, this was a win to stay alive, and Vanderbilt's an okay team. I mean, but we said it yesterday. You can you can even let Scottie Pippen get in the 20s and you can still win the game. He's a good player, but he's basically their whole team. And yesterday he pretty much was. They had one other guy in double figures, and South Carolina outside the first half dominated. I mean, dominated on the boards, dominated in second chance points, 14-5, points off turnovers, 23-12, fast break points, 13 point fast break points. Like every 31 bench points to 10 for Vanderbilt. Like every category that's kind of like an X factor in the college basketball game, South Carolina dominated. And if you told me that after last week, if Keyshawn Bryant was going to be blanked, would South Carolina be able to win the game? I would say, I don't know, probably not. But doesn't matter. Jermaine Couisnard's putting together a couple good games in a row, 14 points for him off the bench, and yeah, another win. Keep it moving.
That's what it was, and how you just described it. Another win, and keep it moving. The next opponent Saturday night. It'll be a late tip off, so take a nap during the middle of the day. It'll be Texas A&M at 8:30 in College Station. Texas A&M, a 70-64 loser late last night on the road at LSU. That dropped the Aggies to 15-5 in overall, and I believe dropped them to 4-3 in conference play. It is 4-3 in conference play. So another chance to pick up a solid victory on Saturday night. It would be a road victory. And I'll tell you what, the other thing, look, I don't right now, if you said, hey, do you think South Carolina makes postseason play? The NIT seems realistic. I think the NCAA tournament doesn't. But I'll say South Carolina's hanging around. They haven't done anything to jeopardize or have some of those really bad losses. Even the Coastal Carolina loss.
They have done things to jeopardize by not winning.
Well,
by losing 7 games already.
You don't have right now. They're 104 in the Pomeroy college basketball rankings. That was through last night, 104. But they've got some decent wins. That Florida State win, Florida State continues to play good basketball or has started to play better basketball. We'll see. There's still a lot to be determined. South Carolina hasn't. They're not out of the woods yet, but they've got 2 opportunities. You mentioned it yesterday, going on the road potentially, or going on the road this weekend, going on the road next week, 1-1. You need to split. Now, either one of those would be solid victories. The Texas A&M victory maybe would be a little bit better. I haven't exactly broke down where the rest of the top 25 is in terms of the top 50, in terms of Pomeroy or net rankings or all those metrics that the NCAA tournament tends to get into when looking at the NCAA tournament, much less the NIT tournament. So, but a good win last night. That's the way you kind of just take it in. 70-61, you mentioned it. The Gamecocks statistically with a very solid night. James Reese leads the way last night. 36 minutes, 8 of 12 from the field, 3 of 6 from three-point range, 19 points, Patrick. A very solid night from him. And Eric Stevenson's hot or cold, buddy. He'll go a few stretches where there's some wild shots taken. It's not close. And then he'll hit about 3 or 4 in a row where he is just in fuego. Last night, he had 13 points in 30 minutes of action, 3 of 8 from the field. And you get more contributions from Jermaine Couisnard, who last night looked much more comfortable. 14 points off the bench in 26 minutes, 5 of 11 from the field. And the biggest stat for Couisnard last night, 4 assists, 2 turnovers.
He's stringing together a couple good games in a row. Like I said, I mean, he's hopefully gaining confidence. Is there a chance that he can just take this and run with it and be one of your key players by the time the season ends? I mean, if he can come out and get you in the teens every night, you might have a chance of upsetting a couple of these teams. Like Eric Stevenson, if he shoots the ball well, and Keyshawn Bryant can get you double digits, and Jermaine Couisnard can come off the bench and play like he did last night and get you in double figures or in the high teens. There's actually a chance that if you're playing your best basketball, you can come out there and upset just about anyone in the conference. I mean, you're gonna have opportunities, but South Carolina so far has not pounced on any of those opportunities, and maybe this is your opportunity. Or I don't know. Are they getting more confident, or did they pick up a win on their home court where they're comfortable against an average team? Because Vanderbilt's an average team. I mean, they're a 500 basketball team.
No, you're right about that. But I mean, right now, this is a team that I feel like the confidence is teetering on, hey, we can make a run or the season's over. And I feel like last night, had they lost that game, you'd sit at 2-5. Fan, I don't know if it's frustration, disgruntlement, maybe borderline apathy. I feel like that would have pushed it over the edge last night the other way. Winning the ball game, on the other hand, and rallying against Georgia, another not good team, although Georgia beat Alabama the other day at home, and Alabama's really good. But winning that game last night, again, doing it kind of in the manner that they do, where they get hot down the stretch, they win the game, it does keep the players invested. It keeps everybody kind of moving forward, saying, hey, we can make a run in February if we can get the pieces together. South Carolina cannot play the way it did for about 30 minutes, mind you. There were stretches there that were very poor. But with that being said, it keeps everybody involved. 803-404-6100. Travis weighing in on the Buford Lending live stream says this team has an opportunity to reach some goals, but I'm disappointed with our seniors who just seem like they are going through the motions, especially in the first half last night. Patrick, I don't think they're going through the motions is what I would say to Travis. But it seems like there's a lack of chemistry at times. This team just at times it just seems like they completely lose their mind on how to operate as a group of five on the basketball floor. And you see passes that are beyond questionable. You see some wild shots. It's like they just lose it for 3 to 4 to 5 minute stretches.
Well, it doesn't really make sense either because it's not just unfamiliarity with each other, is it? Like, it's just kind of boneheaded plays, and it's not about chemistry, and they're mostly all experienced players too. You only have a couple freshmen that are actually getting significant minutes. Devin Carter's pretty much the only one that's going to get in 10+ minutes a game.
Yeah, Jacoby Wright.
Well, what did he play last night? How many minutes did he play last night?
Wright last night stepped
18.
in and played.
18
Yeah,
minutes,
Wright's come along. And Wright last night, again, Jacoby Wright, this is a very solid performance. We had Frank Martin in studio back in October, and we talked about point guard play. And Jermaine Couisnard playing point guard last night. Devin Carter playing a little point guard. Devin Carter's not a point guard. And last night, that 3 turnovers last night. He only played 8 minutes, didn't play a lot, tried to go. But you get Jacoby Wright to come off the bench. And again, the stat line that I look out for Jacoby Wright, how many assists, how many turnovers? 7 points is nice, but 4 assists, 1 turnover, running the point position, putting people in position to score, and not turning the basketball over. And that's what Jacoby Wright did last night. Again, let's not oversell the victory. You're right. Vanderbilt's a 10-9 team. They're 2-5 in conference. But at least you keep the season afloat here. And that's where this team is. 803-404-6100. Again, you can join us this morning. We'll get into more college basketball, but it's really time to really let Patrick Prince start breaking down these NFL championship games this weekend.
Looks like the Big 12 is number one conference right now. Yeah. The Big 12, the Big 10, and the SEC are all kind of right there.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I knew they've kind of bounced back and forth. The SEC.
Warren Nolan has this is 2021, but I had like 3 different. I had Ken Palm, CBS, Warren Nolan. So it looks like the Big 12 right now is number one, but SEC is not far behind.
I mean, it makes sense. You look at it right now. Kentucky is at 13. Kentucky's at 12. Auburn is at number 1 in the AP top 25. But if you look at the Big 12, Baylor 4, Kansas 5.
I think all 10 Big 12 teams are in the top 75 in the net right now.
Yeah, the Big 12 is Texas Tech is very good. You got the Big 12 SEC showdown this week. South Carolina will not be a part of that. Neither will Texas A&M, obviously. But some good games in that. We'll continue to talk some basketball this morning, get into that game. Again, if you want to weigh in, 803-404-6100. That's how you can join us this morning. If you want to get into a little bit of the basketball, we're going to talk football as well. You got a great weekend. Bengals, Chiefs. Can Joe Burrow pull off the big upset? Rams, 49ers. Can Sean McVay and the Rams finally beat Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers? Does Debo go to Super Bowl number 2? We'll get into the NFL playoffs as well as a few other storylines. Some college basketball news yesterday. Chris Mack out at Louisville, and that is a big deal. Patrick, we've talked about it. Another job. That's 2, I'd say, prestigious jobs that have come open in the middle of the basketball season. Maryland at the beginning, and now Louisville in the middle of the season. 2 very, very highly thought of jobs that are now out there for college basketball's postseason coaching cycle.
Yeah, and I was asking you on the live stream yesterday. I mean, in football, I guess we just know more football coaches, but who even are the big time basketball candidates? Because I follow the speculation on Maryland, and the coaches that people want are like Rick Pitino was one of the suggestions, and people want to go try and chase Bruce Pearl and get him out of Auburn or Eric Musselman out of Arkansas. Other than that, it's just there are some young assistants that might have local links, but I assume Louisville is going to be in the same boat. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't even know if objectively is Louisville a better job than Maryland. It's ACC, I don't historic program.
I mean, Maryland's Big
basketball
Ten.
state,
Maryland's
yeah.
Big Ten. Both are in both you can recruit well to. Both have fantastic traditions, have national championships. I
But
mean,
who are? I mean, I don't know if there's like a guy that's at a group of 5 school that everyone says this is who we want. This is going to be the hot coaching candidate. I haven't ever heard that name.
there's a couple that would be out there, but I don't know if those guys, when you say that, are big enough for a Louisville or Maryland. I feel like if you're a Louisville or Maryland, you're looking to pull
A monster, yeah.
a sitting big time coach.
But then you go to big time, and like, why would Bruce Pearl leave a team that he just took to number 1 to come to Maryland?
like if you're Louisville, who I think I would probably put just ahead of Maryland, but if you're Louisville, your first phone call is to the Boston Celtics front office to see if Brad Stevens has any interest whatsoever,
Yeah.
which I don't think he does. I would be shocked if Brad Stevens ever coaches college basketball again. But you make that phone call and just say, hey, we got a lot of money.
Yeah.
We got a great job. We got a great fan base. What do you think?
I mean,
and then he says no, and then you move on to whomever you want to go
Well,
to next.
I know John Beeline's name still gets thrown around. He's almost 70. He's in the front office of Detroit. Like, guys usually don't like to come back from the NBA.
No,
The NBA is a cushy gig, especially if you're in a front office role.
well, and recruiting in college basketball compared to just being either a coach or in the like you said, the front office of an NBA job where you're making good money. You can wear your college shirt into the office.
Right.
You can relax there and not have as much stress. It's certainly a lot different. We'll talk about that. We'll get into the NFL playoffs and more into that South Carolina win last night. Again, you can join us this morning. 803-404-6100 is how you can do so. Newberry Chris weighing in on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line this morning and does this in honor of Jen. Should we play the Welcome Back Cotter theme for you today, Jen? Is what Newberry Chris would like to know.
I think that's fantastic.
Of course you would. Of course you would. Yes. We've got that.
I
Richard,
have no idea what that is, by the way.
I don't know either. I
I'll
couldn't.
pull that up.
Okay. Yeah. No clue what the Welcome Back. I do know that was a show, and I know it had popular actors. So not quite as familiar. Richard weighing in, when Frank isn't yelling as much and pulling guys after one mistake, they play better. And for the life of me, get them off the 3-point line and continue to pump fake and take 15-foot jumpers. Most fun I've seen this team have all year last night. I agree, Richard. They did on that 10-minute stretch look very happy. And then anonymous texter weighing in, excited to see Rick Barnes return to Austin. Longest tenured coach in Texas history, 400-plus wins, a Final Four, 3 conference titles, and 16 NCAA tournament appearances when Barnes was out at Texas. So a lot of stuff weighing in this morning. We'll get into some NFL playoffs and look around what else happened yesterday. It was kind of a quiet day, which was nice. It's when you look at the Gamecock news prior to the basketball game, and the biggest news is Shane Beamer using a helicopter to go recruit. You know it's going to be a quiet day.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how it goes. 803.
You've never been in a helicopter, have you?
Yeah.
Where?
There was like a helicopter. I've done 2. There was a helicopter tour years ago in Las Vegas. It was one of those like
so cool
ones, and then there was a helicopter tour of like Lake Murray that took one time. Yeah, I mean,
I would love to take a helicopter tour somewhere.
Yeah. So 803-404-6100. You can weigh in. Again, go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, and click and subscribe. Join us along with Travis, Michael, Trey, RL, everybody up and at 'em this morning on the Buford Lending live stream. Look forward to seeing you there. We have put the makeup on. We look good. We're ready to go. Well, tomorrow, Jen, we've discussed this. We didn't know if it's makeup artist because Sound and Images, where we'll be at tomorrow. It's going to be, the lighting is going to be fantastic. We're going to be on a stage. It's going to be a very professional production.
Really? Okay.
We will probably screw it up. We
Guaranteed.
will probably just break the whole thing down, tear it down. But Sound and Images is going to try and make us look very pretty in the morning.
I have
There won't be
actually done
makeup, will
hair.
there?
I have actually done hair and makeup for men before.
Not surprised at all.
And in fact did a ponytail edition, and they had lost a wager, so like one had a dress and like a can, and and nylons. I had a great time doing that. I dressed somebody else up in a wedding dress, man. So you let me know. I'm here for you.
That's Jen. Still basically playing dress up with Barbies just now, like
With
doing
grown men.
yes.
It's
It's
so
a good time. You
fun.
get so much with this program. So much with this program. 803-404-6100. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. We are definitely a different program, but we like to keep you updated on important information like refinancing your current home mortgage loan. You know, you can save a lot of money right now. Rates, they are going up. They will be going up, but it's still time to call Benji Getzy and Buford Lending and find out what he can do for you. Named in the top 1% of producing loan officers in the state of South Carolina and the entire United Wholesale Mortgage Network. Benji Getzy and Buford Lending have 25 years of experience to help you find that perfect rate, refinance, maybe get some money back in your pocket, or if you're a first-time home buyer, you can really save some money. Find out what I'm talking about by calling Benji Getzy and Buford Lending today, 843-524-2404. During these volatile conditions and rising rate environments, it is critical to work with a mortgage broker like Benji Getzy and his team at Buford Lending. They have multiple lenders with a wide variety of lock options to make sure you get the lowest rate and the most flexible terms. Give them a phone call today, 843-524-2404. You can also visit them on the web. Buford.mortgage is the way to do that. If you're purchasing, you need to shop your rate with Benji. He'll get you a lower rate, which will give you more buying power. Find out today. 843-524-2404. That's Benji Getzy and Buford Lending. Unmute my mic.
No, we're in program 3. Yeah.
Good deal. I'll turn that down just in case Jen speaks. Good deal. All right. We are off and running.
All right, well, I got to get to the Grand Canyon for a first time before I can get back. I don't. Helicopter tour of the Grand Canyon would be sick, though. After Gamecock Layers call, we're not acknowledging any more talk about that subject. People are going to text in and they're going to comment. We're not going to read them.
Gotta give.
Hold on. Good. All right. I'm back. Are you excited? We take this seriously, man.
Yeah. This is the problem with working with Jen. There's too much energy and excitement at 6:28 in the morning in her. I don't even know what suit that is.
It's a Tyvek like safety suit.
This is what she used to paint the house. This is actually her painting attire.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Safety first on viruses, man. But I wasn't sick.
You actually are terrifying me because you look like a Oompa Loompa off of Willy Wonka
No,
with
this is not
the outfit.
flattering.
No, it's not a flattering. That is not a flattering. I feel like we could put a hose down the front and what is it
Maybe
like
yeah.
expand and you just
Pretty
be a
much.
nice
Yeah.
marshmallow.
Yeah. So I was gonna say we just take the virus stuff serious. I'm back. This won't be on long enough because it's freaking hot.
Jen is ready to get away. Yeah, that's true. Actually, that's who Jen looked like. Jen looked like Heisenberg. Oh,
Yeah.
Walter White. God, I can't believe I forgot that. Yeah,
didn't. You
Jen
didn't
looks like
forget
she
it.
just came straight out of the RV back there. Yeah, straight out of the RV. It's great. Yeah, Jen's doing a whole bunch of stuff that we don't ever want to know about there with that. We're not back on, are we?
No. We got 2 more minutes.
With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll know what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to babbel.com.
Operate at 9. Yeah, that was Jen. Yeah, she leaves straight from here to either go cook meth or perform surgeries. Or performing a rap video, apparently.
Okay, this is coming off. It's too hot.
Yeah, also a great sentence to use on the live stream. Oh, this is coming off. Too hot. You might want to inform you there are other clothes on underneath there.
Oh,
Like, yeah.
Got about a minute left.
Right, where is our...
Look at you. See, Anthony and I are twins.
Broadcasting live from the Herndon Chevrolet Studios. This is 1075 The Game. Stop by, shop online today, and see why Herndon Chevrolet makes you smile.
803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program this morning. Or if you're on the Buford Lending live stream, you can see Jen's best impersonation of Walter White. I don't know. What was the best way to describe that? We had so many people coming up with thoughts there. One person thought you might be a surgeon. One person thought you might be from Breaking Bad, which would be Walter White. I also thought it looked like you could be an Oompa Loompa with basically your hazmat suit. What are you going with? Yes, a painter. Mm-hmm. Yes. Patrick?
There's a specific game I'm thinking of. I need to
Squid Game. Yes, of course.
Actually, It was pink. Yeah, it's actually not far off.
Yeah, with her mask on, you never knew. So you can go to the Buford Lending live stream and check that out as well. Jen back this morning with us. So we've got a lot to get into and a lot to talk about. Patrick, the NFL playoffs this weekend, you start to look ahead. 3 o'clock on Sunday, we get the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to the Kansas City Chiefs. We started to break this down yesterday. But again, I'll ask you, how much stock do you put in the game back from, I think it was January 2nd, I believe was the Sunday that these two teams faced off, and Joe Burrow throwing for 466 yards, Cincinnati rallying in the second half. One, if the game was in Cincinnati, you'd probably put more stock in it. But because it's in Kansas City, because it's a playoff game and the opportunity to go to the Super Bowl, do you take anything away from that Cincinnati win over Kansas City that you can use for this coming weekend?
Well, you can use it as confidence that the Bengals are good enough to get it done. I mean, if this was a rematch and Kansas City went in there and throttled them, what was it, 5 weeks ago? 4 weeks ago?
January 2nd.
4 weeks ago, I guess. Sounds right. If Kansas City beat them down on their home field, that would be one thing. But I don't know that I can put enough stock into it to make me believe that it's even replicable, really. I mean, it was such an outlier of a game for so many reasons. The fact that Jamar Chase he might have had the best game he'll ever have in his whole career. It's 266 and 3 touchdowns is absolutely ridiculous, and that was his stat line in that game. He just completely dominated. There was nothing Kansas City could do to stop them. And on the flip side, what did we say yesterday? It was like 70 combined yards between Kelsey and Tyreek Hill.
Right.
Probably two of their worst games of the season, if not their careers, at least since Patrick Mahomes has been there. So the odds just of those two things happening again, and Joe Burrow had, I think, 4 or 5 touchdowns coming off the week before. He had 4 or 5 touchdowns. He was just on a ridiculous hot streak. So yeah, I don't necessarily think that result is anything you can read too deeply into. But I mean, if you are a Bengals player or a Bengals fan, it at least gives you the confidence to say, hey, we have proven that we can go toe to toe and beat this team. There's no reason we can't do it again. Just as a objective observer who really wants the Bengals to win, I have very little confidence that they'll be able to go into the most hostile away environment in the National Football League and do the exact same thing.
This is kind of a crazy stat. This is from John Breach of CBSSports.com. You can check out his article on his picks for the Rams, the 49ers, obviously the Bengals and the Chiefs. He says one reason to like the underdogs in the conference championship round is because they both played on Saturday. 49ers and the Bengals both played on Saturday. So he says one reason to like the underdogs in this round is because both played on Saturday in the divisional round, and teams that play on Saturday, which means they get one extra day of rest, have gone 16-8 in the conference title round over the past 12 years. He says to add to that, at least one team that played on Saturday in the divisional round has won one of the conference title games in 14 of the past 16 years, which means it's highly unlikely the Rams and Chiefs both win. He goes on to say the one-day advantage doesn't sound like much, but just think about it like this. While the Chiefs were busy playing a crazy game that went to overtime on Sunday night, the Bengals were sitting around tweeting out SpongeBob SquarePants memes, which they actually were. He then links the SpongeBob SquarePants tweet that they put out. But that just throwing that statistic out there, read it again. Teams, he says, both talking about the 49ers and the Bengals, who are both the underdogs this weekend. He says they had one extra day of rest because they play on Saturday. They played on Saturday. Teams that have played on Saturday have gone 16-8 in the conference title round over the past 12 years. And he says at least one team that played on Saturday in the divisional round has won one of the conference title games in 14 of the past 16 years, which, as he says, means it's highly unlikely.
But how many times have both of the one seeds gone down in the same Saturday? Like, is it always? I really don't even know. Is it always the one seeds on Saturday, and then the 3-4s or whatever on Sunday? Do the one seeds always play on Saturday? I'm not sure if that's part of their scheduling plan, but you would think that if we're going back in history and it's always the one seeds, usually the one seeds win and then they can go on and win again with the day's rest. I think they try to make everything as advantageous as possible for the one seed, so that would make sense. But I just put nothing into the extra day. I don't read into that at all, and I don't know if I was thinking about the Georgia-Alabama game where I think the best thing that happened to Georgia was losing to Alabama in the SEC championship and having an opportunity to see where they're vulnerable and make corrections and all that stuff. The Chiefs, there's just no way that they'll go into the next game and say, we don't have to double cover Jamar Chase or we need to do whatever. We need to blanket him. And Jamar Chase is not going to single-handedly beat the Chiefs 2 times in a row. It really can't happen if you have any sort of brain. And I also think that the Chiefs have an edge in the coaching side of things. So it's not like they're going to go into this. They're going to watch the last game and say, all right, why were Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce unable to be successful? And why did we just get gashed by Jamar Chase all day long? We need to adjust. We need to figure out what we did wrong and we need to fix it. And the Chiefs are clearly so well coached. Just look at the way they managed the 2 minutes and under. Like, only well coached teams gain 44 yards in 13 seconds to kick a field goal. It was methodical. They've clearly practiced that. They go through everything. We said yesterday, Andy Reid is arguably a top 5 coach of all time, top 10 if not. There's no way he's not going to adjust.
That you would assume. I'm with you. And I will say, if Zach Taylor, the Cincinnati Bengal head coach, I feel like if I threw out there this morning, who is Zach Taylor and what team does he coach in the NFL, only about 7 people would get that correct.
I think maybe they'd know the name, but I bet you if we put up a picture of him amongst like 5 different B-list actors or C-list actors, people would not be able to point him out.
Well, I just said that if Zach Taylor wins, he certainly will shoot up the list of young guru coaches here in time.
Well, he needs to, because he was thought of as kind of a dope last year, and people were saying that. Well,
you did. Your prediction was he would be fired here.
He was. I think if we look at, maybe I'll be able to. I'll see if I can find it. The preseason hot seat rankings or the preseason odds to get fired first. I'm pretty sure he was very high up there.
Jan weighing in on the Buford Lending live stream. Cincinnati's offensive line better figure out how to keep Joey B upright. That is a big portion of that. The co-pilot weighing in this morning. The Bengals will not win. You want to guess why they will not win? He says the Bengals will not win because they have been cursed by Gamecock Roll Tide Larry. 803-404-6100. That is how you can weigh in this morning. Speaking of Gamecock Roll Tide Larry and his Bengals prediction, he doesn't like the NFL, but he did make a prediction and chose the Bengals. We go out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Gamecock Larry, how you doing this morning?
Doing just fine. Got my good sausage and bacon and bread and coffee.
Oh, there you go.
But good game last night. Kind of worried there for a minute, but a good game. And Frank just need to sit back, tell them, coach them up, put them on the court, and let them play. Now, I don't forget what I was going. Oh yeah. I'm going to come out tomorrow. I'm going to try to. I'm going to call old Gamecock Barry after a while and see if he can't bring me out there about 8 o'clock in the morning. And I'm going to try to put the rest of this liver mush and liver pudding debate. I'm going to bring you the recipe for liver mush, and I'm going to bring you the recipe for liver, the liver pudding. Meal goes in liver mush. Rice goes in liver pudding. And I got my thing right here. It'll take me about 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, so I'm not going to worry with it today. I got it written down here. If you want to hear it, just let me know. But I will bring it out to you. I will try to bring it out to you tomorrow morning. If I can't come, I'll call you about 5 minutes to 6 so I can tell you. I can give you the ingredients and put all this thing to rest.
All right.
And I did not curse the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going to say they're going to win the game. Yeah, they're going to win the Super Bowl. And that gentleman just called in. He's going to have to apologize to the old man. That's about all I got to say. I'm sitting here listening to you, enjoying it, and getting older every day. But I'm feeling good today. Go Gamecocks. Talk to you later, Bill and Patrick. I'm glad to have Jen back. Her lovely voice. Got the old man fired up. Go Gamecocks. Go 10. Rayo. Go go. I feel good.
Yeah, you do.
Sounds
Go-
like it.
yeah, all right.
All
That's-
right.
I think he ran out of things to say go to. He didn't want to go roll tide anymore. He was just go Gamecocks, go Jen, and then he just wanted to
Yeah, I need to save that.
go
Jen. That
Thursday,
was-
go
go home, Bill.
home. Yeah, all right. Good phone call.
That was awesome. I love that.
I ate a mayonnaise donut last week and felt sick the remainder of Friday. We're not
Oh, I
going to.
feel so terrible.
Tomorrow will be good
Oh.
food only.
Mm.
Good food only. 803-404-6100. That's how you can join us this morning. If you want to do so, you can also follow along in the Buford Lending live stream. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. (2022) off to a flying start. You want to make sure that part of the flying start is keeping a clean house. I turn to Zero Res. It is my secret to battling the dirt, the mud, all the things that my kids bring in. Like Austin had soccer last night, comes home, drags some grass through the carpet. You get the point. That is the key to keeping a clean household, having someone to do it for you. I can promise you that. Call Zero Res today, 803-262-4020. Right now, you can get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for only $119. And when you mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game, just right now, just practice it. Bill Gunner, 107.5 The Game, you'll get a hallway cleaned for free. So all you got to do is call 803-262-4020. Or again, you can book online, zerorescolumbia.com. 3 rooms of carpet cleaned right now for just $119. And when you mention me, Bill Gunner at 107.5 The Game, you can get your hallway cleaned for free. Zero Res, it's who I turn to with their ZR water technology. Scientifically proven to keep your carpet, rugs, tile, and upholstery insanely clean. Call Zero Res today, 803-262-4020, or book online, zerorescolumbia.com. Zero Res, spell it backwards or forwards. It's the right way to clean. So is the Chiefs secondary that horrible?
No, they're not good, but they also have been banged up. Tyrann Mathieu may or may not be back. That won't be a huge impact.
All right, 7, 4, 7, 17, 8.
That number calls all the time.
1708.
I can't remember who it is.
It looked to me, that's why. Oh, it was chilly at soccer practice last night. He hadn't called me once. I mean, it's been. Good morning to everybody. Robin, hope y'all are staying warm. Cora. Cyburn is off to work. Gamecock Larry. That was an energetic Gamecock Larry, that's for sure. Good call. Good call.
Yep.
They all come back. They all come back.
As soon as I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. You can run, but you can't hide.
That's right.
Zach Taylor, 6th best odds to be fired. First coach fired. Tied for 6th.
In the what
Before this season, yeah. All the coaches ahead of him got fired.
Solid.
Number one, Mike. Oh, actually, no, not all of them. After his first year, Mike McCarthy was number one. But then after that, it was Vic Fangio, fired. Matt Nagy, fired. John Gruden, fired. Mike Zimmer, fired. And then David Culley after, fired. Mike Vrabel, top 10 odds to get fired. And
I might get this guy. I didn't realize he's writing for CBS Sports. I used to use him all the time. He's an NFL guy. You ever follow him? He wrote this article on CBS Sports. Joel Corey.
Never heard of him.
He does a good job. He's a former sports agent. He's actually, I used to use him all the time to talk about like contracts and stuff. He's got the headline article in CBS Sports about Aaron Rodgers.
I've never listened to this show at all, but I just look at the boxes and I look at the headlines and look at them talk, and I just know it's a terrible show.
Which one? The one on the right?
Yeah, KJM.
Oh. Yeah, it doesn't look good.
I used to religiously watch ESPN. If I was home on a weekend, I'd watch SportsCenter for 4 hours.
I don't know how many people. Yeah, I don't know how many people like just sit down and watch ESPN. Like I feel like I
It's
did
so bad.
20 years ago. And I don't know 20 years ago what they were showing. I guess was SportsCenter shown. I don't know. I don't know if people on the live stream used to watch.
I would watch SportsCenter for 3 to 4 hours a day, and I would see the same thing over and over again. I recorded it every single night. I recorded the 6 a.m. episodes so that I could fast forward through the commercials, wake up early, and then as soon as the top 10 came on, I'd watch that and go to the bus stop.
(803-404-6100). How you can weigh in this morning, talking a little NFL Conference Championship weekend, and certainly South Carolina with a 70-61 victory over Vanderbilt last night. If you want to weigh in on either of the Heating and Air text line or the Love Chevy phone, let's get out to the Love Chevrolet phone lines. Boudreaux, have not heard from him in a while, has a Super Bowl question. How you doing this morning, young man?
Well, I ain't making no fuss. Hell, the group of people got together and said I couldn't make a fuss no more. Some of them had badges. One of them had a robe on and kept hitting his desk with a hammer. I don't know what his problem was. Anyway, I'd love to have a shot of whatever Larry's drinking this morning, because this cup of Joe ain't getting it for me. So my question, though, and it'd been easy enough for me to look this up myself, but, you guys are the experts. There's a possibility of a rematch of Super Bowl 16 and 22. Anyway, 49ers and the Bengals. There's a possibility they end up in the Super Bowl. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right.
Unlikely,
Okay.
but yes.
It's very unlikely. However, they played in 2 Super Bowls, and I was just wondering, other than Pittsburgh and Dallas, are there any other duo of teams that have met 3 times in the Super Bowl? I know the Patriots played the Giants twice, and Dallas played Buffalo twice. But I'm trying to figure it out in my head without looking it up, and I thought maybe y'all might know or got it right in front of you. You can let me know. I don't think anybody's played 3 times in the Super Bowl except for the Steelers and the Cowboys. And a lot of people forget that the Bengals were winning both of those Super Bowls late in the fourth quarter. They were a really good team back then. I believe they had Ken Anderson and that Collinsworth boy catching passes for them back then. And I'm an AFC North guy, I guess. I'd kind of like to see the Bengals go and win the whole thing. But I just wanted to, do you have the information in front of you that I'm asking about? Or?
Yeah, Steelers, Cowboys. You're right. That's the only one that's happened 3 times. And there have been, I think, 4 different rematches.
It's a good question.
Right.
Good question. Good to hear from you. And glad you're doing well out there. I'm glad they let you out of the clink.
By the way, that's that's a very college mindset for it to take into an NFL divisional weekend. Hey, saying I'm an AFC North guy
Oh, really?
because I would never wish any success for the Giants, Cowboys, or Eagles.
True.
If they were in the conference championship, I'd say I'm an NFC East guy. I'm rooting for whoever's playing them.
Okay.
But that's the SEC mindset is, hey, we're SEC guys. Let's go SEC.
Pull for our division.
Yeah, you pull for your conference. That does not happen in the NFL normally.
No, it does not. But
I mean,
we'll-
would any Panthers fan, if there's a Panthers fan that if the Falcons, when the Falcons were in the Super Bowl, were Panthers fans saying, let's go NFC South, I'm
I
pulling
don't
for the
know.
Falcons? I don't think so.
I don't think so, but that's it. So I didn't realize. So the Bengals and the 49ers have met twice.
I didn't know it was twice. I knew Boomer Esiason was in the Super Bowl once. I didn't know there was another one.
So yeah, 1982, and then really the first Super Bowl I remember was the 1989 game with Joe Montana leading them down the field. I believe it was when he looked into the end zone on the final drive and said, I think it was John Candy, and said he saw John Candy.
Oh, yeah.
That was the famous. So, yeah. So we'll continue talking about that. Good to hear from him. We got plenty more of you on the Love Chevy phone lines. We'll get to you, talk some
Anytime.
NFL playoffs, and South Carolina last night, 70-61 over Vanderbilt. We got 2 hours to go. You're listening to the early game. Bill Gunner, Patrick Pratt, Jen Jensen. It's 107.5 The Game.
The home of the Gamecocks. 107.5 The Game. WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia.
Yep, a return of Boudreaux. Let's just glance and see.
Charles texted and said, San Francisco led the entire game the first time they played.
Oh, did he say that?
Boudreaux said, a lot of people forget the Bengals were in the lead both times. They should have won both of them. And someone completely contradicted that. I don't remember it, so I have absolutely no idea. There you go, Day. Yeah, that's NFL mindset. I don't think there's any division or conference love really in the NFL. I don't even know. Certain divisions, people may not care as much about other teams. Like, I don't know. Maybe Steelers fans don't care that much about the Bengals. They're more concerned with the Ravens right now. But when one team's been terrible for a long time, although I guess the Bengals haven't been terrible for a long time. They did win several divisions under Marvin Lewis. Just never won a playoff game. It's very disrespectful. It's called Brian Kelly, the new LSU coach. Travis said Boudreaux with no accent is like LSU's new football coach trying to fit in with the fake Southern accent. He's not just LSU's new football coach. He's led Notre Dame to national championships. Not winning, but playing in national championships. But agreed. He's a clown.
Boudreaux basically called in.
They're going to hold on through the break. If so, that'll make this first segment.
Yeah. I would love to have a show where we're just slammed with calls the whole time. That would be great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, those are, well, the thing about it is, usually to get that, you got to say something else.
Yeah. Yeah.
They can't hear me again.
Say something political. I'll usually do it.
Yeah.
I'm back.
I did. I was listening to a lot of DC radio yesterday because it was the 30th anniversary of the last Redskins Super Bowl, 1991. So they just opened up it was like a dream for a radio host. They said, "All right, everybody, give us your memories of that Super Bowl or that year," and they were just flooded with phone calls of people just talking about that year and how great it was, and then people saying how you would have never dreamed that we would be the bottom of the barrel of the NFL 30 years later. One of the stats I heard about the 1991 Redskins, their quarterback Mark Rippon got sacked 9 times their quarterbacks got sacked 9 times the entire season. Joe Burrow got sacked 9 times last
One
week.
game. Has Jen been in there making comments? Is that what was happening? Yeah.
It's all good.
It's all good.
Mhm.
That is
Boudreaux.
exactly what the master meth maker would say.
Whoa, Broncos. Breaking news.
Oh, we got breaking news
Uh-oh.
at 7 a.m.
Yep. It's 4 or 5 a.m. where the news is being broken. Who's reporting this? Hang on. Yeah. Looks like it.
You'll probably see me on the floor here in the next break, just stretching.
Looks like the first official head coach deal.
It makes such a difference in this studio when we come in, and because it's cold outside, but when they've got these, they can kind of control instead of that cold window, it does help that I've got the big puffer jacket on this morning. $7:02 on a January 27th Thursday morning as we wrap up or we head toward the end of January. Jen, you weren't around this week, but I was just commenting as we kind of wrap up the last full week of January. We'll get Monday the 31st, but man, it feels like just the other day we were celebrating, or not we together as a wholesome group.
No, you don't let us come around you.
No, I don't. Well, if you can go to my Twitter account at Will Gunner, WILGUNTER, you can see why I do not allow Jen to come around me. And you can make up your own. Her and Walter White, similar people apparently, according to what they wear to work. But yeah, no, it's hard to believe as we wrap it up, Patrick. We were starting the month off with the final weekend of the NFL regular season. Now here we are, the final weekend of really the playoffs. Before then, the big one, the Super Bowl in 2 weeks. A lot kind of changing here as we get ready to roll into February.
Yeah. So there's breaking news. You didn't let me break it.
Well,
we should be leading the hour.
We're just starting the hour. That's how
we're on NFL talk. The Broncos are hiring a head coach.
Oh, you are doing such a. All right, hold on. We really need some good music for breaking news. Do you have anything that you can throw in, Jen, real quick before Patrick breaks some news?
We do have a.
Sounds good.
Do we have like a dun 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 thing or something?
Mm.
There we go. Yeah.
And now to break some news that he didn't actually
Well,
break, he just read on the
I
internet.
wanna-
Patrick Perrette.
I want to make it a game too. So the Broncos are hiring Nathaniel Hackett,
Okay.
who is the what coach for the Who.
He would well, I feel like I read this the other day. He is the offensive coordinator,
For
not the Bills, that's Brian DeBoer.
Dable.
Sure, him. I don't think he's the Rams. I feel like that was Kevin something.
Kevin O'Connell.
So I'm gonna go Packers.
He is the Packers
Yeah,
offensive
look at
coordinator. There
me.
you go. Yes. It actually is really interesting. Tom Pelissero broke the news, so that's the reason I think it's like Rappaport, Schefter, Pelissero. These guys are all legit, so you can trust anything they say. He's saying that this is the first official head coach to be hired. We talked about Byron Leftwich yesterday.
Mhm.
They're in discussions apparently, but nothing's finalized. And apparently yesterday, Nathaniel Hackett had his second interview with the Broncos, and the Jags were trying to get him in for a second interview because they were getting cold feet about Leftwich. So they were going to try and bring Hackett in, but the Broncos said, no, you're not leaving Denver. And they got the deal done. So pretty interesting. Apparently Aaron Rodgers called to personally endorse Nathaniel Hackett.
I'm gonna ask you about that here. We'll get to that here this hour because Aaron Rodgers is gonna be the hot name and what happens with him. There's an article now on CBSSports.com. So we'll get to your hot takes on that this
Aaron Rodgers
morning.
is going to Denver.
There you go. Okay.
It's going to be awesome.
He can't even hold it from
No, of course not. I said that last week. It makes the most sense. That's why I said when you asked about Brady or Rodgers, I said let's use the Broncos as a control group because the Broncos have an awesome roster. They're ready to go. Aaron Rodgers is going to be smoking legalized marijuana in Denver next year and probably take them to a Super Bowl.
As long as it's all natural.
It's Nathaniel Hackett. So
He's not going to cut his hair until then either.
We'll get into more of that.
Give me scissors.
We will get into more of that because Patrick is just giddy with hot takes. I can already tell on Aaron Rodgers. Nathaniel Hackett.
I just love massive shakeups like that.
Yeah, we've got plenty that we'll get into with him on that this morning. You want to weigh in 803-404-6100. That's how you can join us this morning. You can also hop over to the Buford Lending live stream and join us there as well. You can follow along, a lot of questions, entertainment, discussing multiple things over there. Let's get back out to the Love Chevrolet phone lines. A couple people have waited patiently through the break. David is up next and wants to talk a little Chiefs and Bengals. David, how you doing this morning? Thank you for staying patient. What's on your mind?
No problem, man. I do a lot of driving, so I'm really happy about the format change where there'll be more local stuff. But I hate to burst Gamecock Larry's bubble, but I don't see the Bengals winning 2 in a row against the Chiefs. And with their offensive line and the schemes that they're going to come up with, I'm thinking 27-10, 27-14 Chiefs. Also, I heard Boudreaux a while ago. I don't know if you guys have ever caught his comedy act. And then the last ramble, and I'll be through for the morning. A lady in Bamberg, South Carolina, made the best chicken bog I ever tasted. And her secret ingredient was 1 cup of black coffee. Sounded weird to me, but it was the best bog I ever had. Appreciate what you guys do. Have a good day.
Thank you, David. Yep. So he's not on the Bengals.
Yeah, the call said wanted to talk about Chiefs and Bengals. He hit 5 different things.
He did a good job.
He basically ran through everything we talked about yesterday.
And efficiently at that.
I will say I feel like that is a risky chicken bog recipe. It's either as he said will be delicious, or you put 1 cup of black coffee in there. I feel like you run the risk of messing up a whole pot.
I've never heard of putting coffee in any type of food. You hear about like beer and bourbon and things like that. I've never heard of coffee.
Jen, do you ever use coffee for any kind of ingredient? I could see
any type of cooking.
Yeah,
and like baking, I think you would, but I've never heard of putting it in like
sense.
a chicken bog or anything. It'd be interesting.
I
I don't like coffee, but
I put bourbon in my chili the other day.
how'd that go for you?
nice.
I mean, it went pretty good.
Solid,
Yeah.
pretty happy. Okay, bourbon recipe, chili recipes, chicken bog recipes. We got it all right here 803-404-6100. That's how you can be a part of the program this morning. Let's get back out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Daniel is up next. Last night, South Carolina won 70-61 over Vanderbilt. He wants to weigh in on that. How you doing this morning, Daniel?
I'm good. How are y'all this morning?
Doing good.
Good. I appreciate all y'all do. I got a pretty good drive to work every morning, and I much prefer listening to you guys over ESPN radio, even though I'm not a South Carolina or Clemson fan. So I appreciate y'all getting up in the morning and doing this. Hey, my question was, I've been watching South Carolina basketball the last couple games, and I know they haven't played the top tier SEC competition, but it seems to me like when you got Jermaine Cousinard and Keyshawn Bryant playing pretty well the last couple of games, whether that's been for minutes or for a half or whatever it's been, the South Carolina basketball team looks very different. So I was just curious what your thoughts were on that, because I feel like that's what South Carolina is missing right now. Maybe that wouldn't get them to the top of the conference, but they need a playmaker, they need a distributor, someone who can create a shot and create shots for others, and that seems to be really what's missing right now. Just curious what y'all's thoughts are.
Appreciate the phone call, Daniel. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it, having a point guard that certainly can break down the defense, get into the lane, and kick out. Jacoby Wright last night, 4 assists and 1 turnover. I don't know if he has the quickness that you're kind of describing. I think of quick point guards. Patrick, you've grown up watching Maryland basketball, so I'm sure there's a couple that come to mind for me. Melvin Watson, Aaron Lucas, who we've had on this program, Trey Kelly, obviously Devin Downey. Those are smaller point guards. Melvin Watson was physically, he was not tall, but physically well built. Lucas and Trey Kelly were more on the slender side, and Devin Downey was just incredible and fun to watch. But yeah, South Carolina doesn't have that, but I think Jacoby Wright could maybe be that kind of guy. He's just got to learn. And Patrick, to Daniel's point, South Carolina has played some of the top tier SEC teams. Now, they haven't beaten them. Auburn got them by 15. Tennessee got them by 20. But Arkansas is one of the better SEC teams. They went through a little bit of a slump, but they're starting to play a lot better. But to Daniel's point, yeah, the point guard play is right now what makes South Carolina go or fall apart.
That's a lot of teams too. I mean, that's just, I think basketball is even trending that way more as the floor gets kind of spaced out more and you stop playing through the bigs as much. It's kind of just how it's been. And yeah, I mean, that was the talking point all offseason. We knew that there was talent on the team. We knew they kind of revamped the front court. They just needed somebody to kind of run the show. And yeah, that's, I don't know. I there's lots of potential with Jacoby Wright. I wouldn't be ready to say that he's the next Devin Downey or anything like that. But I mean, these minutes are valuable right now. Just keep growing. I don't know. How good were these guys that you were naming as freshmen?
Well,
like you said Melvin Watson was the first one. Like, did he burst onto the scene as a freshman?
I don't think so. His sophomore, junior, and senior years. His sophomore year, South Carolina lost to Alabama in the NIT to go to New York. South Carolina, that was kind of the resurgent year under Eddie Fogler. They'd been awful. They had just been ridiculously bad after the George Felton era, and Steve Newton had come in from Murray State, and they were bad. They were lacking players, and then Eddie was able to get some good players. He was able to get B.J. Mackey was a freshman. He had Melvin. They had Larry Davis coming in. He continued to recruit Antonio Grant, William Gallman. What's the other big guy? Nate. I forget Nate's. He was a transfer from Ohio State. Nate Wilborn. They brought in these guys, and it kind of came together. In the first year, they went to the NIT, or it was Melvin's second year. He was a sophomore. And then his junior year, they exploded and won the SEC regular season championship with a 15-1 record. And then and they lost to Coppin State. And then the next year, they got to the SEC championship game in the SEC tournament, and Kentucky beat them by about $72 million there in Atlanta. But then they lost to Richmond. So things didn't end. But Melvin really kind of came on the scene his sophomore year. First year was a learning year. Aaron Lucas from right here at Richland Northeast, who's now coach over at Lower Richland. Aaron kind of had a growing pains for Eddie his first year, but again, developed over time and was very solid his sophomore, junior, and senior seasons. Trey Kelly, I think, might have redshirted. Somebody might be able to correct me. I think Trey Kelly actually redshirted his freshman year. He was out of the D.C. area, Patrick came down here and played, and obviously ended up leading South Carolina to an NCAA tournament. Did he get to an NCAA tournament now? No, I don't think he did. He led him to back-to-back NIT championships, but I don't think Kelly didn't get him to an NCAA tournament. Aaron Lucas did. Melvin Watson got him to 2, but I don't remember Trey Kelly getting him to an NCAA tournament. And then Devin Downey was a stud at Cincinnati from day one, and was a stud here from day one when he arrived. He was just a monster. Watching him, to go down a different path for a second, you talk about like the 5, I don't know, narrow it down 3, whatever you want to go with, like the not necessarily maybe, and I guess best or most fun player to watch. If you wanted to do something like that, just the most fun player to watch, Devin Downey would be in my top 3. I'm trying to kind of go through the list right now in terms of like most fun players that I've ever seen at South Carolina. And Devin Downey would certainly be in that, because he single-handedly threw the rest of the basketball team on his back and beat Kentucky twice.
That's why I was thinking guys like that, like just absolute dudes, I feel like they just hit the ground running. And that's like college basketball. It's hard to be patient and wait for guys to develop when you do see around the country so many freshmen that just come in and are studs from day one. And usually championship caliber teams have like monsters that are freshmen. Like they just have the high level NBA guys. Like, I mean, you're not going to get Cade Cunningham to South Carolina, guys like that. And you watch Gonzaga last year, and Jalen Suggs was just so good from day one. And it just, I don't know, it's hard to not have that and see everyone else.
But are we going back to that in basketball because of the ability of players now to go to the G League, the top players, the elite of the elite, or to go play for overtime elite, to where not just at South Carolina, but maybe across the board, you have to be a little bit more patient with elite players? I'm trying to pull up.
I don't know, but I mean, like I grew up Maryland fan. I watch a lot of Maryland. Like their last 2 point guards, Anthony Cowan and Melo Trimble, were 4- and 3-year players. Were both great from day one, but they were just undersized, quicker guys that were probably not going to be lottery picks or really first round picks. So they came back to school and just continue coming back to school. There's always going to be guys like that in college basketball too.
I'm just looking because I had no clue. Chet Holmgren, you know who that is?
Yeah.
All right. For those that don't, he was the number 1 player in the class of 2021. He is a freshman at Gonzaga now. I was looking, he's the number 1 player in the country. He went to college.
He's ridiculously long. Is he 7 feet?
Yeah.
Or is he 6'11", 6'10"?
I thought he was actually 7 foot.
I think he's
1.
a 7-footer that can dribble, and he can spread the court. And he's
listed
he's a freak of
as
nature.
7 foot, 195 pounds. Might want to get some weight on that kid.
7 foot, 195 pounds tells you all you need to know.
But I was looking. They play tonight. If anybody wants to stay up extra late, and they play Loyola 11 on CBS Sports Network. But the number 1 player in the country, his stats for the year: 17 games played. He's averaging 25 minutes. He's averaging 13 points per game and 8.5 rebounds, almost 9 rebounds per game. So, I mean, that gives you an idea. Now, that's a guy who comes in as the number 1 player in the country. I do think with college basketball, we're going back to an era where you've got to be a little bit more patient. And to kind of wrap up that conversation, again, Jacoby Wright, very good last night. Give Jacoby Wright a lot of credit for coming in, playing 18 minutes, 2 of 5 from the field. He hit 3 of his 4 free throws. But the stat that I liked the most from Jacoby Wright last night, 4 assists and just 1 turnover. That's what you need your point guard to do. Jermaine Couisnard last night also very solid at the point guard position, 4 assists, 2 turnovers. He was able to score 14 points on 5 of 11 shooting. We'll continue talking about the basketball game that was. We'll get back into Patrick's thoughts. Patrick's got some thoughts he's got to give this morning. Some breaking news: Nathaniel Hackett to be hired as the new head coach of the Denver Broncos. And that's big news because it pertains to a certain big name quarterback that could be on the move. And we'll also get Patrick's thoughts on the Rams and the 49ers, plus your thoughts as well. 803-404-6100. I see a lot of you weighing in on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. Terrence sends us an off topic, but a thing that I like: the Traeger coffee rub. You see this? I guess steaks, chicken. Oh, yeah. Coffee and black pepper.
I looked at the picture. I thought it might be photoshopped.
No, I think that's real. It looks actually like something that I wouldn't mind purchasing and giving a shot of.
Well-
Anonymous texter also says Red Eye Gravy has coffee in it.
That was exactly where I was going. I got a call about the same thing.
Okay.
So there,
don't
I
know
guess
if I've
that's why
ever
it's
had
called
red eye
red
gravy.
eye gravy because of the coffee in it.
I have zero clue. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
What do you put red eye gravy on? I don't know if I've ever had it.
like I was told like country ham, grits, stuff like that because it's a thinner gravy. It's not quite as thick. It's like a brown gravy.
I'm pretty confident I've never had red eye gravy.
Well, we'll do more research and discuss on the Buford Lending live stream. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
This is South Carolina head women's basketball coach Dawn Staley, and you're listening to the home of the Gamecocks, WNKT FM, Eastover, Columbia, 107.5.
It is cold out there this morning, and I'm telling you what, that can cause a little bit of pain in your joints, your knees, your hips, your ankles. It can absolutely make you feel miserable. And if you've been having to take addictive pain medications, you've been taking steroids, people have been telling you surgery is your only option. That's not the case. You need to give QC Kinetics a phone call today, 803-281-6860. That's how you can get in touch with QC Kinetics for a free consultation. QC Kinetics is there to help you get back to living the lifestyle you want to in 2022 with their advanced, unique treatment that uses natural biologic agents, mostly from your own body. These powerful, highly concentrated growth factors are put directly into your affected joints, and they're going to work to soothe the inflammation and restore damaged tissue. It is truly a regenerative treatment. Give QC Kinetics a phone call today, 803-281-6860. Get a free consultation. Allow them to work with you and show you why they can help you with no surgery, no drugs, and most importantly, no downtime. Finally, it's a new and different, highly successful approach to dealing with joint pain. Call QC Kinetics today, 803-281-6860. This is the most accurate take of the morning so far. Our early game cookbook is a weird concoction. Not even of delicious items either. So did we get to the bottom of what red eye gravy really is?
I'm reading the Wikipedia page about it right now. It's made from the drippings of pan-fried ham mixed with black coffee. I mean, it doesn't look good. I really don't have much interest in trying it. Country ham also, I just eat by itself. It doesn't usually need sauce.
Who is the best point guard in the country?
What does this question mean? What NFL QB has been sacked in one game? The most in
All
one
of them.
game?
All of them have been sacked in one game. I think that's the answer. One of all of them. Melvin was RL, yeah. Melvin was that was when I was in high school, and man, was he a good point guard. Yeah, Kevin, I agree. It's so easy for kids to just transfer out. You really, unless something really goes wrong, you can't redshirt a kid in basketball. Now, this is an interesting hot take. You see this one, Patrick? Red velvet cake made with coffee grounds is good. Jen, red velvet cake with coffee grounds?
Like they're just added into the mix?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not a huge red velvet cake to begin with fan.
That's my birthday cake every year.
I think you said that. Yeah, I thought you were the red velvet cake guy. Yeah.
Yep. We all have our own specific birthday cakes.
It's an interesting red velvet cake, yeah. I'm trying to see what else we got. Yep. Jen is back, or our own personal Walter White. Oh, Jen, we're supposed to have Brian Edwards at, I believe, 6:20 this morning. Did I see? Yeah, 2 breaks in the 8 o'clock hour. So Brian Edwards. At least that was what he said last night. It just popped on my Twitter timeline. The Village Idiot. Like, have you ever gone down? You've probably had that there. They're like, I don't know what it was, like a fondue dip, but it was kind of like it just popped up and it made me want that.
What popped up where?
It was
It's
on
that-
my, for some reason, it just was on my.
It's that bone sauce. They call it
Is it
bone
called
sauce. It's
It
really
just
good.
says warm, cold nights,
Fondue.
warm cheese fondue, and it's got that it's got those like kind of pizza slices or whatever that you can dump, and it is delicious.
I will get that with my pizza sometimes. There's 2 versions of it.
Yeah, that makes me. So did you decide red eye gravy was not a delicious sounding item?
No, it doesn't look good.
What do you use red eye gravy for? Just putting it on like biscuits or something?
On country ham and grits.
And I was told grits too.
Just 2 things that don't really need gravy.
I can get on board with grits on gravy, or gravy on grits,
I
but yeah, I'm
understand.
with you on that.
I just have cheese.
Red eye gravy is a Southern favorite.
No, it's not. I mean, the only text we got about it was, it's disgusting. The person that said red eye gravy has coffee in it responded with, it's disgusting.
Yeah. It's interesting, the tabs that I have that end up popped up on my computer during the show. 986 subscribers. We're 14 away. Make the push. Everybody tweet out today to go and subscribe. Just one big mass tweet. Everybody, go subscribe. We will thank you our own unique way yesterday.
You get the first copy of our cookbook.
That's right. That's a good point. Look at me being very active on Twitter today.
Yeah, there's all sorts of things that sound horrible when you read the recipe. Like hot dogs.
It's true.
I like Spam. I like all sorts of stuff.
Did you see
So-
last night I was watching and they've got basically now it's kind of like a panini press type deal, but you put your hamburger in there and it pushes down the middle and then you open it so you can put cheese or bacon in there and then you put another piece of meat on top of it and you close it and you press it together so that like you can have like
Like
you
a
ever had
pizza
some of those
burger
stuffed
or
burgers like
Oh,
done,
yeah.
we've done blue I've done
Yep.
blue cheese before and some stuff.
What's a flavor sauce? What does that mean? Aren't all sauces flavor sauces?
I learned so much
good point.
all the time on this about food.
You have to talk about the bologna face masks too.
I'll try red eye gravy. I'm not paying for it though.
$7:29 on a Thursday morning, January 27th. Hope you were up and at 'em and staying warm out there. Jen, what was the temperature this morning as we all got out of bed, put the feet on the floor? Hopefully you had a carpeted floor because if you had hardwoods, they better have been heated hardwoods. What were we estimating? Patrick, 32, Jen?
30.
30-ish? It was cold. I got the big puffer jacket on with the fleece lining because I handle cold very, very poorly. I think that's an aging thing as we get older. And
Yeah, I think you handle it about as well as my mom, who's 94.
you would, if I lived in wherever you're from, Chicago, Illinois, whatever
Oh, and it's brutal right now.
I would be the whiniest person. You think I'm bad here.
Yeah.
You would just wake up so unhappy to have to deal with me if I lived. I do not handle cold, and I've had my fill of it. Did you see the high for Saturday?
Like what, 41 or
41.
something?
The high for Saturday is 41. Yeah, the low is the low is around 20, 21. So
And no question that's cold. Like it's especially cold right now back home. And I just kind of told my sister, that stinks for you.
Mm.
Would you like to borrow my little suit, to keep you warm in there?
we all live in South Carolina, not for the cold weather. So yeah, it's not fun. No good at all. 803-404-6100. Your hand is raised. I was going to you for Nathaniel Hackett,
Good.
Aaron Rodgers, Devonta Adams. So break the news again that you didn't break,
Well-
that somebody put on Twitter and you read, but it is
It's-
important news because it pertains to probably the most important player in the NFL this offseason.
Yeah. Well, all right. So Nathaniel Hackett, offensive coordinator of the Packers, has a great relationship with Aaron Rodgers. I was just reading about I've heard of his gold zone meetings. That's what he calls the red zone. And they're apparently like awesome. Like everybody just has a great time at the gold zone meetings, and he's
Of course.
apparently just a lot of fun. So I was reading this quote. He named it the gold zone because he just loves Austin Powers. So I was gonna send Jen the thing to play the quote, but I'll just read it. He said, he's in a press conference. He said, I don't know if anybody's seen the movie. It's an Austin Powers movie. Big fan of Austin Powers. Really enjoyed those. And Goldmember is one of those guys that, well, he loves gold. And I think you've got to respect somebody that really loves gold. And for us, when you get inside the 20, you have a chance to score touchdowns. We score, everybody gets gold. I think that's something the guys have really bought into, and they've really learned to love and appreciate Goldmember and what he believes in. And we believe in a lot of the same stuff, not the bad villain stuff, but the get the gold stuff.
As long as they don't embrace it to the point that Goldmember did.
Right. So he's just apparently is the man. And like guys dress up as Goldmember for their meetings and stuff. Like I've heard Aaron
cool.
Rodgers. He does the weekly McAfee show interviews for like an hour and just goes off on crazy tangents about anything and everything. But I've heard him talk about the gold zone, and it sounds like that's just something that the whole offense just loves. So I think Nathaniel Hackett is just the man, and I'm pretty sure that this is a lock that Aaron Rodgers is going to follow him to Denver.
803-404-6100. How do you feel about Aaron Rodgers as a whole? How do you feel about Aaron Rodgers following potentially Nathaniel Hackett to Denver? Let me give you a little background here. Nathaniel Hackett is the son of former NFL and college football coach Paul Hackett. He is 42 years of age. He will be 43 next December, so he's a young 42. He attended California Davis College. I do not see
UC Davis.
UC Davis. Okay, yep, didn't know that. I don't see where he played. Not that that's a end all be all. Brad Stevens never played college basketball and went on to be a solid coach at Butler and did really good things with the Celtics for the majority of his time there. So I'm just kind of glancing here, but it says he worked as an assistant coach at UC Davis and Stanford. He began his NFL career as a quality coach under John Gruden with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then served 2 years before moving to Buffalo in the same role.
He's a Doug Marrone coaching tree guy.
Okay.
He was at Syracuse, followed Doug Marrone from Syracuse to where'd he go before he got hired at Jacksonville? Was it Buffalo? It was Buffalo.
Yep.
Yeah, Buffalo to Jacksonville. Yeah.
It's just interesting because we bring this up this morning because we've ranked the jobs in the, let's see if I've got it right here in front of me. I do. You and I ranked our top jobs in the NFL. Both of us had Denver at number 1.
Yeah.
Both of us had Denver. And so you get Nathaniel Hackett, who will be a first-time head coach. I will say this for the NFL. I like the trend of hiring new people.
Mhm.
You know, if it's Byron Leftwich in Jacksonville, Eric Bieniemy, if he will ever get a shot, you hear these offense coordinators. It's tiresome to see the old names. It feels like somebody's going to throw. He could be 97 years old, and Norv Turner, you feel like, is going to get an interview somewhere and have an opportunity to be a head coach, and it's tiresome.
Yeah, but I think the NFL is just going that direction now that we're seeing the high-flying passing offenses be fully embraced, and the league is just it's an air raid league. You got to have an elite quarterback. You got to be able to score points, and at a certain point, these owners know you got to get younger. If you're not getting younger, you're getting worse. Like at a certain point, you're not going to rehire the same head coach that's had 2 other jobs and was okay and knows how to lead a team but isn't great, and there's just a limit. So you need guys that just have the ultimate ceiling, and whether that's coach or quarterback, like Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes last week made a lot of teams reevaluate what they've got at quarterback, because you might be pretty content with your quarterback, think he's okay. Ryan Tannehill, yeah, he's pretty good. He won't turn the ball over, but if you don't have a guy that can make plays and take your ceiling way higher, then what are you really doing? And the same thing with coaches. If you got Nathaniel Hackett, maybe he doesn't know how to lead a room or do all the little day-to-day things that a head coach does, but he'll learn. He's got a football brain. People love him. He's young, and you have no idea what the ceiling for him could be. And I am curious how much Aaron Rodgers played a role in this hiring, though, because if he was their number 1 candidate, if they're basically tied between 2 coaches, they say, we like both of these guys, who we're going to go with? You're going to take the guy that has a relationship with Aaron Rodgers. But if you liked someone a little bit better, is it worth it to say, hey, we hired this guy, we're probably getting Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers probably equals Super Bowl for us?
How much does the addition? Yeah, well, that you kind of answered it right there, but not just Aaron Rodgers, but the other guy that could be a piece of that. And somebody asked on the Buford Lending live stream. I don't want to say that Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers is a package deal, but we know that they're close.
Doesn't make any sense though. The Broncos, they have 2 wide receivers locked up. Cortland Sutton, who's a stud, he's on a $15 million. I think he's $15 million a year. They just re-signed Tim Patrick, their number 3 receiver last year. They gave him an extension, and they drafted Jerry Jeudy in the first round 2 years ago. So they have 2 highly paid receivers and then a first rounder. Unless they're going to move one of those guys, like I can see a situation where the Packers can franchise tag someone. They said they were going to tag Devontae Adams. They could tag Rodgers if they wanted to. Wouldn't really make any sense because he would just not play. And they've said that after this year, they would allow him to do what he wanted. But technically, they could still tag him.
Be interesting.
So, but if you're tagged, you can get traded still. You can tag and trade.
Right.
So the only way I'm seeing Devontae Adams go to Denver is if they do some deal where Aaron Rodgers said, I want to be a Bronco. And Devontae Adams said, I want to be a Bronco with him. And the Broncos said, okay, tag Devontae. We'll send Cortland Sutton to you. You send Devontae to us, and we'll give you a first-round pick as well. And that way, you get a franchise receiver for losing a franchise receiver. You get something rather than nothing. You don't have Devontae upset at the organization. And it would have to be a trade of some sort. But right now, Denver's got 3 really good receivers. There's no reason that they would add Devontae Adams to the mix, or they can't really afford. You can't pay at a certain point. You can't pay $75 million to your receiving room.
Well, a couple things. One, if Aaron Rodgers played a role in Nathaniel Hackett being hired by Denver, then odds are he's going to play a role in bringing his favorite receiver to
Probably,
Denver.
but they have to get
And-
rid of someone.
And
I
well,
mean, you can't pay 3 receivers.
You can do that, but
$50 million.
But let's be honest. Whatever they're going to go over in terms of salary cap dollars, this is it. This is the Broncos doing what the Rams did, which I love. I love when teams go all in and say, "Hey, we got a 3-year window here." Tampa did it with Tampa Tom. They got their Super Bowl. They've got the New Jersey Nets are trying to do it with James Harden and Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant professionally, and it's not paying off. The Clippers tried to do it with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, and that's blown up in their face. Sometimes it doesn't work, and it sets your franchise back. It sets your franchise back drastically. For Tampa, it's paid off. We don't know what's going to happen with them. But is this where Denver says we're pushing all the chips in? We're going to go way over the salary cap. We're going to do whatever's necessary.
Yeah.
We're going for 2 Super Bowls, and then we're going back to a rebuild.
I think yes, they'll go over the salary cap. But just Devontae Adams in particular, the deals they've already given out, you really can't do it. I mean, they have to move somebody. If they were to trade Tim Patrick or trade Cortland Sutton, okay, done deal. But you can't have 4 highly paid receivers. They can't all be on the field at the same time. Like logistically, it just will not work, and you're not going to keep a $10 million guy on the bench. So I can totally see them going ahead and trading Cortland Sutton. I think there's definitely things that could work in Green Bay if they decide to tag and just say, this is our leverage. We want a first-round pick for Devontae Adams after the tag, and I think Denver would happily say, we're not going to draft this year. If Green Bay could go into the post-Aaron Rodgers era and say, we have 2 first-round picks, that's probably a good place to start.
803-404-6100. Trey weighs in on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line and says, KJ Hamler was having a good year until he got hurt.
Yeah.
And Trey adds, I agree with Patrick. We don't need Adams. We need Rodgers. We'll continue discussing this. We'll get Patrick's thoughts. Rams, 49ers as well. Brian Edwards of VegasInsider.com will join us at about 8:20 this morning to offer his breakdown of championship weekend as well as his picks, over-unders, whatever he's got for the weekend. And we'll get back into South Carolina and Vanderbilt. The Gamecocks, 70-61 victory over the Commodores last night. They rally in the final 10 minutes, build a lead, and then kind of cruise to the victory. If you were just getting up this morning and looking at the box score, you probably see a 9-point victory and think South Carolina didn't have a problem. It was a problem for a little while. We'll get back into that. And of course, several of you weighing in. Yes, it was cold this morning. Trey also weighing in, a different Trey on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line. He says he can confirm the hardwoods at his house were very, very cold this morning when he got up.
Need some slippers.
Yeah, slippers.
Everybody needs slippers. I got UGG slippers now, and they're the best thing.
Look
ever.
at that guy.
Yeah.
UGG slippers, coffee and gravy, coffee and red velvet cake. We're covering all the topics here. NFL and South Carolina's win over Vanderbilt. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game.
Chuck, what makes you late for breakfast? 7:45. It's prime breakfast time. Also, Larry, what out of that conversation makes you think that we like Aaron Rodgers that much? He's one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the NFL right now. About to be the MVP. If he's changing teams, that's a big deal. Did see that, Travis. It's a strong statement from Mr. Mara. He also had a statement standing by Daniel Jones, talking about how they haven't done him any favors. Yeah, but you still got time for breakfast. I'm usually up in the 6 o'clock hour, but even if you're late for your standards, you can still eat breakfast. What were you watching? Are you done? You're done Ozark, right? It never ends, Chuck. Breakfast talk never ends here.
Delicious. Have you ever had dinner for, well, you're different, but
Breakfast or dinner?
does anybody have dinner for breakfast? No. But you know what you do? You have breakfast for dinner.
I actually do. I do like to break the mold and just eat different meals at random times. I'm fully on board for a 6 a.m. like burger or chicken sandwich. I think that's totally cool. Love breakfast or dinner. The only thing I could never eat for breakfast, I couldn't eat a cold cut for breakfast. I don't have the taste for it in the morning. A pizza in the morning, like a full on pepperoni pizza at 6 a.m. Yeah, for sure. I would crush it. Yeah, I would love it. I could eat buffalo wings at 6 in the morning. I could easily eat a dozen wings.
Well, but see, that's again, you're getting up at a different time like that.
No, but I'm just thinking of like, all right, we wake up really early and go out and tailgate for a noon game. You're out there at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock. I'll eat a burger. I'll eat a burger at 7. I just won't eat the only lunch.
A burger at 7 is called a sausage biscuit.
Exactly. That's why a regular hamburger is not that much different. The only thing I will not eat in the morning is cold cut sandwiches.
Wait, you can't eat a cold cut sandwich?
That's the only lunch or dinner food that I wouldn't eat in the morning. Cold meat in the morning, no thanks.
All right.
Wawa has like bagel, Italian bagel melts though. That
What about like what is it? You can do the salmon, like a
cream cheese and salmon. Locke's Bagel is my favorite. One of my favorite things ever. I would get them all the time when I lived in New York. Those are outstanding. A good Locks on everything bagel, always. Maybe some capers.
$803-404-6100. How you can join us this morning if you want to weigh in. South Carolina last night, a 70-61 victory over Vanderbilt at Colonial Life Arena. That will move on now 12-7 on the season, 3-4 in conference play. They'll look to try and get back to 500 on Saturday night, 8:30 at College Station against Texas A&M. You can hear that right here on 107.5 The Game if you want to weigh in on last night's game. South Carolina, again, it was a strange game. They did not they're down 4 at halftime, and there were moments in the first half in which South Carolina played well. They got down early, hit some three-pointers, came back, tied the game. Vanderbilt went on a little bit of a run, looked like might pull away a little bit. Then South Carolina comes back, cuts it to just 4 at halftime, and then Vanderbilt kind of runs away with it to start the second half. And I was looking at the exact time. I think it was about the 10:54 mark to go in the second half, had their biggest lead of the game. I mean, Vanderbilt gets up there pretty quickly. They were up 9, 35-26, a minute into the second half. And again, it looked like Vanderbilt was going to kind of run away with this game. They had a lead of 9 points multiple times to go down here. It got to 11 is what I'm looking at. 46-35 with 13:28 to go in the second half. And then South Carolina does what South Carolina's done the last 2 games. They get hot and just roar back to take the lead and actually build a big lead of their own.
And I don't know if how that makes people feel. Does it make you optimistic that there is that high level play in them somewhere, or does it make you pessimistic and just kind of lament that they go on too long of lulls? And we've seen them like play really good halves against Arkansas and then play one of the worst halves they played all season in the second half of that game after taking a lead on the road against a really good team. Like, it's too off and on. And I don't know, does yesterday change anyone's opinion of anything? What is it going to take to change your opinion of this team going forward? Like, if they can put it together and play like they did for that 10-minute stretch, they can beat anyone in the conference. We just haven't seen it. We haven't seen, I mean, have we seen a solid of full 40 minutes of just great basketball this year? Not really.
No, because they were
They
down.
haven't dominated anyone.
They were down 16, 17, 18, 16, 17, 18, something that I want to say.
What's their biggest win of the year? Like point differential. Off the top of your head, what do you think?
They've thumped a couple. They got somebody pretty good back I think around Christmas. I'll go back and look. Yeah, 105-75, 30 points over Army.
Okay.
And that was one that mattered. Georgetown was kind of that game because Georgetown's a brand name team and they won that game by 13 and they were in control. But I was going back to the Florida State game. They got down, I think it was 16 or 17 early in the first half. I go back, Florida State, I was looking to see what Florida State's biggest lead was in that game. But yeah, I mean, you're right about that. And there has been inconsistency, but you've seen things come together in the second half for this team. Now, let's be clear. Both games, Georgia and Vanderbilt were at home. That does help. 2, Georgia and Vanderbilt are near the bottom of the conference. Now you're about to go and play 2 teams that are not near the bottom of the conference in Texas A&M and Mississippi State, and you're going to play them on the road. You have to be more consistent for the full 40 minutes and you can't fall behind on the road by 10, 11 points and expect to have that kind of run. That's where I'm with you on that.
So does Texas A&M by itself, if you go in to College Station and get a win against a good Texas A&M team, I mean, is that enough for buy-in from the fan base? If we come back on Wednesday morning and South Carolina just went to A&M and Mississippi State and won both games, and do you think Tennessee coming the following Saturday, a week from Saturday, would put like 10,000 people in the arena?
Yes, 10,000. Yeah, which I mean
that's a lot for right now.
Yeah, that's a lot for right now. That would be a very good crowd. It would be a very good home environment. But to answer your question, I think that if that was the fan base is in a weird place right now because the teams they're fighting. They play hard. You cannot question the effort with which this team plays. What you can question is what exactly we're talking about, the consistency.
Yeah, they're in a place where they have kind of everything in front of them. Like anything that they want to achieve is theoretically possible, and the fans want to be supportive because of that. It's not a lost season. There's still a lot to play for, but at the same time, no one in their heart really believes that South Carolina is going to make that late season push and make the tournament. No one does.
We will continue discussing that. Patrick needs to give a breakdown of the 49ers and Rams, or at least some. You got to save some of it for tomorrow. You can't do everything. And
Yeah,
Mark,
we've only really talked about the Bengals Chiefs today.
that's right. We're going to get into the Rams 49ers. And Mark weighs in. I don't agree with Mark on this. He says cold, sure, but 100-degree, 90% humidity July day is better. Yes. My body does not hurt on those days. Like joints, pain. I'll take heat.
I don't care.
I'm getting older, man. I'm getting older. We'll do another hour. It's the early game. Bill Gunner, Patrick Pratt, Jen Jensen on 107.5 The Game.
See, RL, I actually love that. A little leftover spaghetti in the morning. All about it.
Oh.
All about it. One Super Bowl. I don't know how anyone has one cup of coffee in the morning, Alan, to be honest. If you can do that, I respect it. I think most people are with you, Ross. ID channel. My Roger. And there's Hope. I believe they will. Yeah.
That girl.
Hope's also all positive at 7:55 in the morning, but if Texas A&M wins the opening tip on Saturday, she's going to tweet, "This game's over."
Funny because it's true.
It's very much true.
You got to admit, a watch party with Hope would probably be the most fun thing because the emotional roller coaster. Everybody would be relaxed on the couch, and she'd be the one pacing behind the couch, throwing popcorn at the TV.
We could go through her tweets, but like South Carolina, like even the Duke's Mayo Bowl, South Carolina's up like 17 points or something like that.
We do say it with love. We do say it with love.
We do say it with love. Yes.
What was she? She was tweeting.
What was the? I mean, it's like North Carolina scores to make it like a 10 or 14 point game with 5 minutes left, and Hope's like, "Oh my gosh, we're gonna blow this game because of a trick play." Like, Hope, they're very much in control right now. It's okay. The women will be up 25 points, and someone will go on a 6-0 run. She's like, "Oh man, this lead's dwindling."
I tweeted one time during a South Carolina Florida game at the end of the Steve Spurrier era. Just I got upset about something, and I sent a tweet out, and the next day I got a phone call from the defensive line coach. And at that point I was like, man, I really can't like go on Twitter tangents during a game because
gets too emotional.
So I just try and stay off. That defensive line coach called me and was like, "You got me in trouble. Then that player wasn't playing good. That's why he was out. He was not out there." I was like, I don't seem to be playing good to me. But anyway. Oh, we got to mention women's basketball tonight, 6 p.m. I'll mention that coming back.
Hung some new banners last night. Saw that on Twitter.
Who did?
They put up the Ty Harris and Kiki Herbert Harrigan banners because they got a whole wall of lottery picks there. Pretty cool.
They do things. I will agree with you. The blood pressure, the basketball team, they throw some passes and do some things. I mean, honestly, the play that put the game away last night, you probably didn't see it because you probably did. You see the play that basically put the game away? The Cousinard dunk when they threw it into Eric Stevenson out. They threw it out from underneath the basket to about half court, and he gets it, and he's like, he just loses it, like just has it stolen. The ball goes backcourt in front of Vanderbilt bench. Stevenson clearly like takes his left arm and just shoves whoever is chasing for the ball. It's a complete foul. He grabs the ball, throws it across the court to somebody who now Vanderbilt, who thinks they have a steal, have all come down the court. So I think he threw it to Cousinard, who threw it to Levesque, who is still standing under our basket, who gets it and just goes up and dunks it. And that was kind of
that was it.
It was who exactly made that? Yeah, there was that 67. It was 67-61 with a minute to go. And Stevenson just loses the ball, commits an offensive foul that was not called. And it ends up in a Levesque dunk, which was just, and as the announcers were saying, they thought Scottie Pippen Jr. was going to get the steal, make the layup, and it was going to cut it to a 4-point game with a minute to go. Instead, it ended up being an 8-point game with a minute to go on an easy dunk for South Carolina. But York, you're right. There you go. See, there's your agreement with you, Patrick.
Yeah, it's like clockwork. I'm laughing at this guy. Texted in. I actually do believe this year's basketball team will make a run and make the playoffs.
Playoffs?
Yeah, playoffs.
All right.
I guess it's the playoffs. They're all just tournaments anyway.
I still can't believe this guy's saying. I totally disagree with the hot versus cold take.
I don't care either way. I'll limit my time outside in both of those conditions.
Yeah. Well, I like being outside even when it's hot to hang out.
Well, if it gets too hot, you live on the lake. That's helpful.
It is more enjoyable. Oh, are they getting back on the helicopter? Yes. All right. Gamecock football just put out a tweet. The Shane Cam. Yeah. When I was a fatter kid, I preferred the cold. Now I've lost, in the last 5 years, I've lost like 50 pounds and become semi-slim. And now I prefer the heat. I hate the cold. I've had enough of this weather.
Gamecock football put out.
Final hour of the Thursday episode, January 27th. Hope you are up and at 'em this morning, off to work or getting the kids to school, whatever you may do on your Thursday morning. Thank you for joining us. Bill Gunner, Patrick Perrette, Jen Jensen back in studio with us this morning, running master control back there. If you want to weigh in and speak with her and then speak with us, 803-404-6100, how you can call in and join us on the Love Chevy phone lines. Many of you also weighing in on the Cool Care Heating and Air text line, and you can do that as well, 803-404-6100. And always, you can go and join us on the Buford Lending live stream. Go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game. You can click and subscribe. We got Alan, Larry, Patrick, Roger, Decor. Hope is on there. We've been making fun of Hope. I'm sure most of you who are on Twitter have seen her. We've been kind of giving her a hard time about the emotional roller coaster she takes during basketball, football, women's basketball games. RL had the best text of the morning on the Buford Lending live stream regarding our good buddy Hope and her tweets. He said, the funniest thing is I may not be watching a Carolina women's basketball game and I happen to be on Twitter. I will run across a Hope tweet and assume our team is losing big, but they have a 10-point lead or so, to which Patrick agreed. So it's a fun time in there, our own little family that you can go and be a part of. Again, go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, click and subscribe and join us on the Buford Lending live stream. Speaking of women's basketball, tonight, 6 p.m. over at Colonial Life Arena, the number 1 ranked South Carolina Gamecocks host number 24 Mississippi. It is the makeup game from, I believe, January 2nd. I think January 2nd on a Sunday, the day after New Year's, that the game was postponed due to COVID issues within the Mississippi program. That game will be played tonight. Obviously, tonight was supposed to be the showcase game between South Carolina and UConn, but the Gamecocks changing that one to get all of their conference games in to be able to qualify for a regular season championship game, Patrick. So if you want to get over there, 6 p.m. tonight, that game will be on ESPN. South Carolina and Mississippi tonight over at Colonial Life Arena. Last night, South Carolina wins 70-61 over Vanderbilt. Very solid night for James Reese as he pours in 19 points, 8 of 12 shooting, 3 of 6 from the three-point range. Patrick, James Reese has been a really good addition. Local kid, it bounced around a little bit, Buffalo, North Texas, but has come home. And good to see a local kid performing the way he is and going out. Aaron Lucas was on with us prior to the season and spoke very highly of James Reese. He and JoJo English both coming on and talking and singing the praises. And James Reese last night, a very solid performance across the board. He's been a leader. He's been a steady contributor throughout the season.
You can argue that he's been their best player all season.
Mhm.
I don't know how many. I guess I can go through the schedule. He's probably led the team in scoring in the most games of anyone, I would think. And his 3-point shooting has carried them a lot of times. Yeah, I don't know how vocal he is, but he is a leader on the court. So he's a massive addition. I don't think South Carolina would be where they are right now without him.
James Reese with a very solid game last night. That was followed by a very nice performance from Jermaine Cousinard. We've talked a lot on this program about needing Cousinard to step up, Patrick, to perform, and that's exactly what he does last night. To me, the two statistics that stand out, he took 11 shots, and Cousinard can score the basketball. He has to have confidence, and we've seen games recently when he has played where he's only taken 2 or 3 shots. Last night, he attempts 11 shots, makes 5 of them, pours in 14 points, but the other big stat, 4 assists to 2 turnovers, takes care of the ball at the point guard position, also added 5 rebounds last night. So you get a nice performance from him. Keyshawn Bryant last night got in foul trouble early on, didn't play much, only played 11 minutes. He ended up with 4 personal fouls. Again, he was in foul trouble the majority of the game and hung out over on the bench with Chuck and Frank Martin, offering some advice on how to coach. But Keyshawn with 11 minutes last night. So you get away with a game where Keyshawn Bryant doesn't give you much, even though he's been playing a good bit. He was in foul trouble. You get Cousinard to step up.
Well, that's kind of where the depth comes in. I mean, they did get 31 bench points last night, mostly carried by Jermaine Cousinard's 14, but it does feel like what the team is missing is a true star. Like they don't have that guy that you can expect to come in and fill it up every night and be your leading scorer night in and night out. But what they do have is they're gonna go 12 deep pretty much every game. So if one guy has an off night, like it's not gonna make or break the team. We've seen it. There hasn't been a game where everyone in South Carolina has played a good game. Somebody always has a bad game.
To your point, there are few games, and I know Keyshawn Bryant has been up and down this season, and then there's no question about that. But if you tell me pretty much before any game that you're going to get a combined 19 minutes out of Keyshawn Bryant and Devin Carter, who are probably your 2 most athletic players. I mean, they're the 2 guys who Keyshawn Bryant can be both can be a little wild, both can be a little crazy. Both somehow played 19 minutes last night and combined for 5 turnovers, but they can give you some quality minutes. They can do things. And if you tell me that both of those guys are going to only play 19 minutes and neither of them is going to score, I think that's an awful recipe for South Carolina in most games. Carter still battling the leg injury. He only played 8 minutes last night, took 2 shots, was ineffective. They'll need to get him healthy for Saturday night, 8:30 against Texas A&M. And then Keyshawn Bryant, foul trouble last night. 4 fouls is what he ends up with, doesn't score, plays just 11 minutes. But as you mentioned, South Carolina gets quality contributions. Huge dunk by A.J. Wilson late in the game off a missed free throw. You get 4 points from him, but you got quality rebounding work, 5 rebounds in 17 minutes. Josh Gray has continued to play a little bit better with each and every game. He plays 14 minutes last night, adds 6 rebounds, scores just 4 points, and Taquan Woodley 8 minutes last night, 2 points in his efforts. So South Carolina picks up the win. They go to 12-7 on the season, 3-4 in conference play. They'll be back in action Saturday night on the road, College Station, against Texas A&M, looking to get back to 500 in conference play. And as Patrick mentioned, you can split these next two. They're on the road. You get Texas A&M, and then you go to Mississippi State next weekend. Maybe you feel a little bit better about this team heading into the month of February. They continue to fight. They continue to battle. We'll see where they sit here when we round out the month of February. There was big news this morning, Patrick. I know stuff that you get very fired up about. The Denver Broncos are announcing a new head football coach.
Yep, Nathaniel Hackett, Packers offensive coordinator. Twitter's already on fire about this. We have ESPN up there. We can't hear it, but we see what they're talking about. It's going to be probably the top story of the offseason. Denver was already – back up. Offensive coordinator of the Packers, Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, offensive coordinator, somebody that Aaron Rodgers is extremely fond of, has talked glowingly about. Last year during the Falcons coaching search, he called, I don't know if it was Arthur Blank or whoever was leading that coaching search, to vouch for Nathaniel Hackett. So he loves Nathaniel Hackett. And obviously, Aaron Rodgers will probably be looking for a new home. Maybe they can mend things in Green Bay, and he'll decide, you know what, I love being a Packer. I only want to play for one team. But more than likely, it seems like he's going to leave, and getting someone who he loves. I don't know if it was the sole intention of the Broncos coaching search, if they thought that having Vic Fangio, a defensive head coach, was not going to be conducive to bringing in Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if that was like when they plan out their offseason, priority number one is do whatever we can to get Aaron Rodgers here and just redo the Peyton Manning thing. But you got to think, and this is what everyone's going to be talking about, that Aaron Rodgers, that's the next domino to fall, is that Aaron Rodgers is going to end up following Nathaniel Hackett to Denver, playing for his old coach, and joining one of the most talented rosters in football.
Do you give more credit? Matt LaFleur, head football coach for Green Bay, has gotten a lot of credit. His background, his passing background, what he brought to Green Bay as an offensive mind. Is this a situation, though, where Nathaniel Hackett has OC title and that's it? Or do you give him credit? Obviously, you said Aaron Rodgers believes a lot in him, but also it never has seemed that Aaron Rodgers' problem has been with Matt LaFleur. It's always been the front office. It seems like LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers get along, and if the front office is able to patch things up with Aaron Rodgers and say, hey, we will find, I don't know how they'll do it financially, but we'll find you a little bit more help this offseason to make another run next year. I mean, that's there's no chance. I mean,
no, they can't. They're in dire straits.
They're $43 billion over.
Yeah.
They're $43 million over, and to get it back, they have to actually be part of it is because of Rodgers and Devontae Adams, who make you a playoff and Super Bowl contender. And to get under that 43, you have to get rid of those two guys or restructure contracts.
Right. So, yeah, I don't think they can mend things. Like, Aaron Rodgers does have a good relationship with Matt LaFleur. He likes Matt LaFleur a lot. It's really hard to, from the couch watching on TV, know who is responsible for what. Like, it's similar to the Buccaneers situation. Like, who is responsible for their success? Is it Tom Brady? Is it Bruce Arians? Or is it Byron Leftwich? Normally, it's a combination of the three, and I'm sure that's the case in Green Bay. Matt LaFleur is more of a running coach. Like, that's kind of his bread and butter, and that's what it was in Tennessee. He was a Titans OC, and that got hired as the Packers head coach from there. He was all about the smash mouth running game, and he's a good run play developer. Like, he comes from the Shanahan tree, and that's what Kyle Shanahan's amazing at, is just really diverse, unique run sets and being able to run the ball no matter what. So I don't know if Aaron Rodgers loves him, loves Nathaniel Hackett, who is more of the passing game coordinator, I think. But either way, if he has a good relationship, Aaron Rodgers is really not going to care, because I think that no matter what, he has a massive say in what anyone's going to do. So I don't know. It's hard to divvy up the credit when we just know that there's an incredible quarterback and they can cover up mistakes too. Like Aaron Rodgers covered up Mike McCarthy's mistakes, and Mike McCarthy's probably going to get fired next year. But yeah, I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to stick around in Green Bay when they're going to have to blow it up. The Broncos objectively have a better roster than the Packers. The Packers defense was really good this year. They were a top 5 defense, but when your only weapon is Devontae Adams, they have a great left tackle, David Bakhtiari, who didn't play a single game this year. But outside that, there's just no stars to be found on that offense.
803-404-6100. We will continue that discussion. Brian Edwards of VegasInsider.com joining us in about 10 minutes. If you want to weigh in, again, 803-404-6100. Jen, let's get back out to the Love Chevy phone lines. Brian wants to weigh in this morning on the South Carolina basketball game. Brian, how you doing this morning? What's on your mind?
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good.
I want to get your honest opinion about the Gamecocks men's basketball team. And I've said before, when I look at Frank, I look at it and I see it's a lot of the same issues with Georgetown. And I don't want to say it's all coaching, but the demeanor of the coach, I look at coaches that are getting beat and they're calm, and even winning coaches. The personalities and the attitudes are a little bit different on the sideline. And I don't know what kind of effect that's having on the Gamecocks men's basketball team. I know it's a very short leash. I think Frank a lot of times just is pulling out players and putting in players trying to determine what matchups or what's going to give him a winning matchup for that night or a winning court presence for that night. But to me, sometimes that short leash, you don't really give a player time to work through kinks, because you're just steadily changing out players. I mean, 2 minutes, or if they make a bad play, you pull them out, snatch them out, put somebody else in. I want your honest opinion on what you feel is going on with the Gamecocks program. And I don't know if you watch Georgetown or not, then maybe you can kind of relate the two or compare the two.
Yeah, appreciate the phone call. Well, number one, South Carolina is nowhere near the history and tradition of Georgetown in basketball. I mean, that's for starters. But as far as Georgetown, I watched them obviously when they came to Columbia and played South Carolina. I've called them a time or two in a few other games, and some of it, Patrick, we've talked about it this morning. We talked about it with Frank Martin back in October. College basketball is a guard-dominated game. You've got to have guards that can control the game, can both score and can distribute. And the biggest,
it's not just college. Basketball is a guard-dominated sport. All the big men that are great in the NBA, like Jokic, is shooting threes.
I was just trying to think of who the most legitimate big man. Am I leaving anybody out? Like
Embiid's having an incredible year, but the Sixers.
But again, he can step out and knock it down from out.
Yeah.
Is it Ayton? Is it DeAndre Ayton is the best true big man?
Probably.
Back to the basket, throw it down low. He ain't stepping out and shooting it big man.
All the big time ones can stretch.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like Jabari Smith, watching him the other night for Auburn, 6'10", 225. And they were talking about how his dad, Jabari Smith Sr., played at LSU and played in the NBA, and how you get all these former NBA stars now and their sons are coming up through the college ranks. And what you've started to get with them is guys who understand the value of being able to handle the ball, shoot the three, play the pick and roll. So you've got guys who are 6'9", 6'10", 6'11", handling the ball. So good point on ball handling. But yeah, it is point guard play. And South Carolina has been inconsistent at point guard play the last several years. And Frank has talked about that. Like, he thought he had some guys lined up. It hadn't quite worked out that way. There have been injuries. There have been misses in recruiting. It does seem like Jacoby Wright has a chance down the line to be that guy, but last night, you got good point guard play. Jermaine Couisnard and Jacoby Wright last night, 8 assists, 3 turnovers, and 21 points combined.
Yeah, but then it's a freshman who's still learning the game, and then Couisnard, who has been wildly inconsistent, not just this year, but kind of in his career. So I don't know. You're just not going to get consistent point guard play. It's just really not going to happen unless something full on clicks for Jabari, and it just turns out that he's going to be the guy going forward. I can't imagine that's going to be the case. I don't know what they're like. It just is what it is at this point. I think that's why people are discouraged. You're not going to have a great point guard this year. It won't happen.
Not a great point guard, but you want serviceable. And last night was serviceable.
But if you want to be legit, I mean, you need to be. If you want to make the tournament, you need more than serviceable.
Yeah, you need someone who can set up the other guys and get the ball and distribute a little bit. But we will see kind of how that continues to play out for South Carolina. 803-404-6100. We'll continue talking about that. We'll get into some NFL discussion next as Brian Edwards of VegasInsider.com joins us. We'll get his take on the weekend championship games as well as his picks. You can follow him on Twitter at VegasBEdwards. And, of course, you can visit his site where he's the senior handicapper, VegasInsider.com. That's up next. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. It was cold this morning. We've been discussing that. Trey's weighed in. He said his hardwood floors were extremely cold this morning. He along with Teddy D on the text line this morning said he woke up to 63-degree temperatures inside, and he is calling AAA Heating and Air this morning. I'm telling you what, now might be a little bit too late. When you wake up and it's 63 degrees in your house, yeah, you better call them on this day, but you should have already called them. Now, go ahead and make that phone call. Just get out AAA Heating and Air to your house and let them do a $59 inspection. That's all it takes. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you. You can give him a phone call this morning to get that appointment set up. 803-677-1500. $59 just to come out and inspect the heating and air unit. Make sure everything is in working order so you don't wake up to extremely cold hardwood floors or a house that's in the low 60s on a cold morning like today. 803-677-1500. Call AAA Heating and Air today. Get them out to the house. Let them do an inspection on your unit. Again, that's 803-677-1500. Call AAA Heating and Air today. Tell them Bill Gunner sent you.
What?
Well, we'll cut the sound and images thing real quick. At the show. Just if he's talking to us. Now, did you have that?
No.
He did say that he would all get to it.
When did he send it?
January 8th.
Who sent it?
Yeah, okay.
Oh, that one. Oh, I never sent. I never checked this email, but I just saw that Jess asked for bios. Did you send that?
What?
A bio?
They've already done one. Yeah, you just
It's too late. I guess not. It doesn't really matter.
Oh.
There's a lot of people on this train. The fading Brian Edwards train. I'm tailing him this week, it sounds like. Oh.
Thursday is the game, and we got golf. $8:27 on a Thursday morning, January 27th. We count down the hours. Patrick's counting down the minutes, the seconds. You got a food plan for Championship Sunday?
No, I will be in Nashville with my girlfriend. We have not developed a plan yet. I don't know if we're going to go to a bar and watch it or just hang out at home, but she hates sports. So
that makes it, well, then
I
you
think
better.
we'll probably be out so that she can not have to pay attention.
Okay, I would encourage very good food then. Now, all right, another thing that you might do this weekend is put a couple dollars down on the game, try and find a winner or two, and to join us and help us with that now, Brian Edwards of Vegas Insider. He is the senior handicapper. You can also check out his work on majorwager.com. And Brian, do you have a food plan for Sunday? Like what is Championship Sunday for you? Is it 2:30? You're in front of the television ready to go? Bowl of chips, some dip, or steaks, or what do you got?
I haven't even thought about it. I'm not sure if I'll be going to a bar or going to a buddy's. I'm not sure yet, my man. I'll probably be at a bar watching it with some friends, I would think.
There you go. That's the way to go about doing it. Let's get your hot take real quick. Two different things. One, let's just go back to last weekend and just the weekend as a whole. Let's not even talk about the picks for a second, but just football as a whole last weekend. 4 games, 3 of them decided by walk-off field goals. You get the Bills-Chiefs game, which that one you can actually kind of weigh in a little bit because 25 points in the final 2 minutes. Then you get an extra 6 points in overtime. It goes flying over the over, which was kind of crazy. But just your take on divisional weekend last weekend, which was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, just 4 epic games. Buffalo, Kansas City, one of the all-timers, certainly probably one of my, top 5 to 10 games I've ever watched. It reminded me of 2 other conference semifinal games that I've absolutely loved in the last decade. That 49ers New Orleans game that went back and forth, I believe it was 2012.
Yeah, the Vernon Davis
they had
catch.
4 lead changes in the last 2.5 minutes. And then that the Denver Baltimore game out in Denver when Flacco hit Jacoby Jones on that late throw to rally for a 38-35 win. I think that was 2013, if I'm not mistaken. And
just unbelievable that the 49ers could pull out that win without an offensive touchdown. And on the flip side, unbelievable that Aaron Rodgers cannot give his team more than 10 points at home in a home playoff game. And just the Bengals hanging in there, hanging around. And Titans just an epic collapse and, 3 interceptions. And then, man, the Rams nearly blew it, but how great do they feel that they fumbled 4 times and still eliminate the defending champs on the road and now get to host the NFC Championship game?
Yeah, no, it was an incredible weekend, and you mentioned that about Aaron Rodgers. Our discussion a lot here this morning has centered around not only Aaron Rodgers, but the news that kind of popped out. Nathaniel Hackett, offensive coordinator for Green Bay, going to Denver. And just quickly before we move on to some picks there, if you had to place odds on it, if we do this Vegas Insider segment here with you, and you're the senior handicapper, you want to give a ballpark? I haven't looked, to be honest with you. Do you have a breakdown of odds of where Aaron Rodgers may end up next year, or your personal thoughts on where he may go?
I'm going to, if anybody has it up, I would think Bet Online would, and I'm going there now. If I was the odds maker, I think you got to make Denver the favorite right now. I mean, I wouldn't rule out a return to Green Bay, but if I had to say right now, I certainly would. I would probably predict Denver. And as I'm going, let's see, do they have any NFL specials? They got player futures. Let's see.
While you look for that, how high are you on Denver's roster, Brian? Because I'm super high on it.
Well, their defense I like. Even without Von, that game they played against Kansas City. What was that? I want to say the next to last regular season, that Saturday afternoon game. Their defense played as good against Kansas City's offense as anybody's played here in the last 7 games or so. So I think defensively they're solid, and then maybe they could get Devontae Adams also there in Rodgers to come to Denver, and one off season of free agency and adding some pieces in the draft. I don't think Denver's that far away if you add somebody like Aaron Rodgers, and especially if Devontae Adams comes with him.
He's Brian Edwards joining us.
I don't know how realistic that is from a salary cap and all that. I'm not too sure on all that, but I would imagine they can probably make it work.
Well, that's what Patrick's broke that down.
I mean, they just extended Tim Patrick, and they've already given Cortland Sutton a deal. I would think they'd have to move one of those guys if they want to make room for Devontae Adams.
Okay.
He's Brian Edwards joining us as he does.
Jerry Jeudy, I love Jerry Jeudy.
Jerry Jeudy. All right, let's look at the games for this coming weekend. Let's start. Patrick and I, we like the Bengals. As a matter of fact,
we like the Bengals personally. We
really
want them to win.
We're pulling for the Bengals. It's a good point. We're pulling for the Bengals. What do you make of Cincinnati and Kansas City this weekend? Bengals right now 7.5, depending on where you look, and over under set around 54. Give us your personal breakdown of this game.
Yeah, I like the Bengals and the over. Probably going to be on the Bengals for a little more. They are 6-3 straight up, 7-2 against the spread in 9 road games. They've won 5 of their last 6 games, regardless of venue. They've covered 6 games in a row. They've been underdogs 10 times this year. They're 7-3 against the spread with 6 outright wins, including the 34-31 win over Kansas City as a 3.5-point home underdog in Week 17. In that game, Joe Burrow completed 30 of 39 passes for 446 yards, 4 touchdowns without an interception. Jamar Chase had 11 catches, 266 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Kansas City sounds optimistic about getting Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger, back this week after leaving last week's game early with the concussion. That's a big deal because they did not look good without him. Josh Allen, Gabriel Davis just lit those guys up. So I think KC's secondary is vulnerable. I think Cincinnati is exuding confidence. Joe Burrow is the flipping man. I love this guy. I need to go back and look my pick records. That might have been the first time I've gone against him since he's been in the NFL, when I went against him and lost last week. I won't be going against him anytime soon. I like the Bengals. As for the over has hit in 7 straight for Kansas City, and they've scored 42 in back-to-back games in the over in the 7-0 over run for Kansas City. Those 7 games, Patrick Mahomes has a 20-2 TD-INT ratio, and Joe Burrow has a 13-1 TD-INT ratio in the Bengals' last 7 games. They had 65 combined in the first meeting. The weather's not going to be bad. It's going to be like a high of 45, 5 to 10 mile an hour winds, and no snow or anything like that. Once it gets dark, it'll get in the low 30s, upper 20s, but it'll be good football weather before it gets dark, and then nothing crazy after that.
Just real quick, I've asked Patrick this all week. 34-31 was the final back on January 2nd. As a bettor, when you go to look at this on Sunday early, do you take, or as you're doing your research this week, do you take anything away from that game in Cincinnati, or when you're looking at sides and totals and matchups and everything, do you throw all that out the window?
Especially when it's such absurd numbers for Jamar Chase in that game, and unusually low numbers for Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce.
I take away that Kansas City has the revenge angle, but look, I mean, you don't need extra motivation in the playoffs, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, if you're not fired up just to be competing in the playoffs, and certainly this deep in the playoffs and chance to get in the Super Bowl, you're already fired up to the maximum amount you can be. So, if anything, I think this young Cincinnati team takes away from it a lot of confidence, and Joe Burrow knows that he can light this secondary up because he's already done it. He just did it last month.
He's Brian Edwards joining us again, as he does each and every week. You can follow his work on VegasInsider.com, where he's the senior handicapper. You can also check out his work on MajorWager.com. Make that part of your daily reading and preparing for anything you may choose to do on a nightly basis or during the weekend. Let's move on. Rams and 49ers. 49ers have won 6 straight against Sean McVay and the Rams. I didn't realize this. It's credit to Patrick. He's pointed it out. Or I think one of our texters pointed it out. Kyle Shanahan has never lost to Sean McVay out there. What do you make of this game this coming weekend?
Yeah, I mean, that there's something to that for sure. I mean, the Rams had a 17-0 lead early in the regular season finale, and were not able to finish the deal and lose in overtime. But that's their only loss in the last 8 games. They've won 7 of their last 8, 5 of those by margins of 7 or more. And last week, easily could have been more lopsided, but they cough up 4 fumbles. I don't think they're going to cough up 4 fumbles. They got to be just thrilled with the way Matt Stafford has played in his first 2 playoff wins. 74.5 completion percentage, 567 passing yards, 4 touchdowns without a pick the last 2 games. Von Miller and Aaron Donald have combined for 3.5 sacks in these last 2 games. They're getting great pressure on the quarterback. I think that can force some mistakes out of Jimmy G. And despite the dominance in this rivalry by the Niners, I'm going to go with the Rams. I got it early in the week at -3, -120 price. Now it's 3.5. If you can buy it to the key number of 3 at a price of -130 or less, I do that. If you can't buy it to 3 without having to pay like -140 or some crazy price, then I would definitely make this a smaller play than my others on the other game. This is and it's a smaller opinion anyway, but especially if you got to be paying a steep price to get it to 3. So I'm saying Cincinnati's my biggest play. The over is a pretty strong play for me as well, and this Rams play is a smaller opinion.
Well, so Cincinnati's the strongest play to cover. Do you have any optimism that they'll just win the game outright? And then the follow-up would be, I'm looking at them +800 to win the Super Bowl. I feel like if they were to beat Kansas City, that's a more difficult matchup in Arrowhead than winning the Super Bowl would be. So if you were going to sprinkle anything on the money line for this game, does it make more sense just to go ahead and bet a couple bucks on them on the future for them to just win the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I'm not against it. And I put a little baby play on them for 20 at 16-1 before the playoffs started. So I've got that alive. But if I win it, it'll only compensate for my loss in the Titans last week. So I'm not patting myself on the back with it now.
Well, obviously the 49ers are, in terms of the odds, more likely to win. Do you think that if one of the underdogs wins, it's more likely to be San Francisco? Do you like either of them at all, like on money line plays?
I'm not against the Bengals on a money line play, but you know where I would like it more is this Kansas City got the won the toss and went and scored to make it 7-0, and they adjusted the in-game line to 8.5 or 9, and then you might be able to get the money line on Bengals plus 350 or something like that. Maybe just put a little baby play on it, but and maybe look to get even a better price in the first half if KC gets the lead.
He's Brian Edwards. Make sure you check out his work on majorwager.com. You can also visit him on Vegas Insider, where he is the senior handicapper, and you can go there and check him out. Go ahead.
By the way, I was going to say, I've read your thing on Major Wager about the UFC fight. I actually did find myself staying up late to watch that Ngannou Gane fight. Are you a UFC guy? Are you watching the pay-per-views every week?
Oh yeah. I'm a huge UFC guy. I've covered it. I was told I'm our new UFC guy at Vegas Insider, in 07 or 08. Now last week's card, I'm normally watching it from start to finish. I didn't like a lot of fights on last week's card. I was mainly tuning in for the co-main and the main event. And Ngannou, I had Ngannou. But it did not play out the way I thought. But it was impressive that he was able to use his wrestling, because he did not. I never envisioned him coming back when he was down 2-0 and using his other parts of his game, which we've never really seen him utilize.
Yeah, it's just, dude, Bill, do you ever watch UFC?
No.
I mean, dude, these guys are so large. It's insane watching these guys throw haymakers at each other.
Well, and they start fighting at 11 p.m. or
that's why
midnight.
I usually can't stay up.
I don't. I can't. I never catch that. Real quick, Brian, if someone wants to make a play today, there is a basketball game you like. I'm looking at it, 5:00 today on the Big Ten Network. I love these. I don't understand why we're having 5:00 basketball games, but I'm all for it. Wisconsin travels to Nebraska this afternoon. I've got right now the Badgers as a 7-point favorite on the road. They're ranked 11th nationally. The over-under, I'm looking at 146.5. You've got a play on this that you like. Give us that.
Yeah, I'm going with the over. The over is cashed in 8 straight for Wisconsin. Their last 2 have had combined scores of 160 and 158. The over's on a 13-4 run for Nebraska after cashing in 4 straight games. The Cornhuskers are ranked number 350 out of 358 Division I teams in scoring defense. They give up 79.1 points per game. They're number 309 at defending the three-point line, opposing teams shooting 35.9% from downtown. And Nebraska's last 4 combined scores have been 149, 157, 152, and 158. I'm going with the over on Wisconsin, Nebraska.
Appreciate that. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we will certainly catch up with you again. Maybe next week. You and I will talk this week. I keep thinking that there's not a week off between the championship weekend and Super Bowl, but we'll catch up and maybe get some basketball takes and whatnot. And then certainly Super Bowl and Super Bowl props. Always fun to talk about.
Yep. Thanks, fellas. Y'all have a great weekend. Appreciate it.
No problem. Always fun to talk to Brian Edwards. You can, again, check out his work, vegasinsider.com and majorwager.com. You can follow him on Twitter at VegasBEdwards. We'll come back and wrap up this program here, because we've had a lot to talk about. You're listening to the early game on 107.5 The Game. $50. That's my sleep number. That's the sleep number. That's the sweet spot right now. Bed's not too firm, not too soft. I get a great night of sleep, wake up rested, refreshed, ready to deal with the cold weather that is putting me in a bad mood. And quite frankly, when it is cold like this and the days are shorter, the nights are, well, they're a little more miserable. You need a great night of sleep to wake up and be ready to go the next day. And with my sleep number bed, the sleep number setting on 50, I get a fantastic night of sleep each and every night. Proven quality sleep. It is indeed life-changing sleep, which starts with Sleep Number adjustability. During Sleep Number's January sale, save $1,000 on the Sleep Number 360 Special Edition Smart Bed, plus special financing for a limited time, subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See sleepnumber.com for details. There's also a Sleep Number store. Actually, there's two of them. You can go and visit, one in Irmo on Harbison Boulevard across from Buffalo Wild Wings. The other in Columbia, Two Notch Road across from Sand Hills Mall. You can visit them on the web, sleepnumber.com. Right now, the January sale. Save $1,000 on the Sleep Number 360 Special Edition Smart Bed, plus their special financing, but it's for a limited time only. Make the switch to Sleep Number today and find out what a great night of sleep is truly like.
A lot of Brian Edwards slander in the live stream right now. Troy,
I'm sorry. Troy, I disagree with you, man. Like, there are certain times you buy the points. You have to buy the points in certain situations.
you never buy points unless it gets you through a key number.
Well, that too, yeah.
That's like the main thing. But
3.5 to 3, or if you want to buy it down to 2.5, 7.5 to 7, or 7 to 6.5. I'm with you on that.
I mean, yeah.
But but that's what he's
Vegas
talking about.
Beats it doesn't even make. I know what you're saying, but yeah, there's just.
Yeah, you got it. There's certain times I'll buy. Like, I'll give you an example. I bought Tennessee last week down to 2.5. I think it was. Was it the Titans? I bought it. Obviously, it didn't pay off, but it was part of a parlay that there was no way I thought the Titans would lose. Also, I don't go into it worried about the VIG. I go into it with the mindset of how much am I going to win on it. As Billy Napier says, scared money don't make money. You can't go in thinking about what you're going to lose.
Yeah, I mean, if you go 50-50, you're losing money.
Gotta win. I haven't done much this week. What did I hit? Let me go back to this. I actually forgot to do anything last night. Last night was soccer. Yeah.
Also, like, you know how many people make, how many pickers or handicappers make you pay to just get their picks? Brian Edwards comes on for free and entertains you. And you got to admit, he throws a lot of good information out there at a high rate of speed. So I don't agree with him on the Chiefs Bengals game.
The 7?
Yeah. I mean, I would take it at like maybe 7.5. But if it's 6.5, I wouldn't touch 6.5. Not at all.
That's a situation where you consider
you can go on past history. I mean, that's kind of what he does. He looks at trends and past history, and that's what formulates his opinion. But like I said, this is very much like he was on Alabama because Saban doesn't lose, better quarterback. They won the last game, all those things. I just think there's no way Andy Reid doesn't watch the last Bengals game and figure out a solution for everything they did to lose that game. They're going to learn from losing that last game. I think it was a good thing for Kansas City that they lost to the Bengals first time around. There's just no chance that Jamar Chase does what he did last time. I hope I'm wrong. And I'm not going to make the same mistake I did last week. I'm going to do the emotional hedge. I'm going to bet on Kansas City, even though I want the Bengals to win. Last week, I should have bet on the Bengals, even though I wanted the Titans to win. And I went the wrong way. I bet with my heart, and it killed me.
Sonny, who was the second recruit that got downgraded? And it wasn't 24/7 Sports. It was ESPN that downgraded Braden Davis. Braden Davis got downgraded. He only got downgraded on the composite. His 24/7 Sports ranking actually didn't matter, or it didn't change. I'm sorry, it didn't matter. but ESPN downgraded Braden Davis, and that's why he got his composite ranking moved. It's not always 24/7 sports. Like, you can go and look at it. Let's see here. Like Stone, and plus, if you're going to say that, Stone Blanton went to a 4-star. So, like, Braden Davis went to a 3-star, but where's he at? Does it have a history? So his nah, it shows his composite. It doesn't show his it shows his composite. It doesn't show his.
Who's that, Bill?
Huh?
Who are they interviewing?
Louis Riddick.
No, who are they interviewing on Get Up?
No, I have no clue. Who was
Nothing. It's Cam Jordan.
Huh?
Cam Jordan.
Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out.
Well, you're welcome.
Welcome back.
I did some research. John Travolta's in the show, apparently.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, you weren't familiar with that. Yeah, that's when he was like.
No, I didn't know
kinda
anything
thin
about
and
this.
scrawny. Yeah. Vinny Barbarino.
Was that before John Travolta was anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably so.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's before he got all bulked up and did, dancing movies and other kinds of
Is it
stuff.
it looked like a high school show from what I could tell.
It is a high
Yeah, it
school
was.
teacher. Yeah.
Came back to his old high school and taught. Mm-hmm.
Doesn't look like a sitcom.
Yeah. Oh, it was. It was funny.
Okay. You know where I know this song from?
Oh, there's a commercial.
No. Mace. You know who Mace is? Rapper.
Oh.
1990s.
See, I don't know
He
that.
used that.
Mm-hmm. Sampled it.
Nice.
Hmm.
Sampled it at the start of a song.
There you go.
True story. How about that? More knowledge for you this morning.
Up
But
your nose with a rubber hose. Yes.
we have
Thank you, RL.
Oh boy. We have covered a lot of ground this morning, from the Denver Broncos, Patrick, hiring a new head football coach, which we never get to break. We never have breaking news on our show. Nobody ever, much less out in the Midwest, or I guess that is on the
Is
West.
it
I mean,
2 hours or 3 hours behind us, Denver?
Are they two?
I'm gonna ask you.
Vegas
Isn't that
is
mountain time?
Vegas
time
is
is it in Denver?
3. Is Vegas West Coast?
It's
or-
6:52. It's 2 hours behind.
2
us.
hours.
Yeah, that's what I was
Okay.
thinking.
I was
I mean,
trying
so they
to,
were
Mountain's different
doing.
than Pacific.
I was trying to think if Vegas was what Vegas was considered if they were right there. I don't
I
know
think
where
they're
the
3.
That'd
yeah,
be
they
a lot
are.
of.
They are. That's I remember
Okay.
that from being out there. That's what I was trying to think. Are they on Pacific time or Mountain time? I didn't know where the line's drawn. So yeah,
But they started the negotiations last night, and the news broke at about would have been 5 a.m. Denver time.
yeah.
Wow.
No.
It was,
Yeah,
it was
we
right
were
around
at 7 a.m.
o'clock,
here. Yeah, you were all excited
So you think they were just negotiating all through the night?
all through the night.
That's awesome.
Man,
I would
party,
love
right?
to be in a negotiation for
be
8
that
hours
important.
through the wee hours of the night that ends with me getting
whatever the contract is.
probably like $30 million.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that'd be so cool.
Tough life. We've talked about that this morning. Again, South Carolina 70-61 victory over Vanderbilt last night. Good game by James Reese there as he led the way with 19 points. They are able to turn back Scottie Pippen Jr., who pours in 24 last night, but also had 7 turnovers. Women play tonight, 6 p.m., Colonial Life Arena. You can catch it on ESPN if you don't go to the game. Pretty solid day. Tomorrow we'll be at Sound and Images. We encourage you to go to the live stream. They're going to make us look professional. We're going to look very professional. Lighting, makeup.
I started growing the mustache back out at the perfect time.
You'll be able to see it tomorrow. Go to youtube.com, search 1075 The Game, click and subscribe. We always appreciate it. Jen Jensen's back, everybody. Go to my Twitter account at Will Gunter 1L, and you can see what she wore to work today. I'm not sure if she's an Oompa Loompa or she's been helping out Walter White. We appreciate you joining us.
Safety first.
It's 1075 The Game.
So fun. Ugh.
Yeah,
All
Anthony
right.
knows. Anthony knows. All right, everybody. We have
Yes.
extra work off air to do
Yep.
because we're not in studio tomorrow.
Yep. Earn your keep.
Happy Thursday. Everybody have a good day.